the button.
Hello.
Oh, hi, hello.
Welcome,
I hate
everybody.
I hate that that's my intro to everything now. Like even when I see my buddies, I'm like, oh, hi, hello.
It's funny. I've hosted podcasts before, and we have particular sign-ons or sign-offs, and sometimes I find myself doing that or thinking about it at least, no
Hmm.
matter where I am. But today we are on Lorebeards 40,000, and we're here to talk about some space elf space pirates.
In space.
That's right.
And their arch enemy, space marines and space orcs.
Oh, don't forget the space bugs.
Oh, yeah, and the space bugs and the space dwarves.
So occasionally space dwarves or space undead.
Hmm. But never space ghost.
Okay, trivia question. What is the home base of Space Ghost?
Oh my god, I can't remember. I watched that when I was a child.
Ghost Planet.
Wow, how
Yeah.
imaginative.
You know what? It's one of those things, man. Alex Toth, famous comic book creator, created Space Ghost and all of his stuff, which is
It's a
wild.
good show. It's a good show.
But hey, because we're here on Lorebeards 40,000, we should talk about who we are. If you're new to the show, you don't know who these voices are that you're listening to. I am Ross Watson. I am a game designer and author who's worked on a whole bunch of Warhammer 40K stuff, including video games, role-playing games, various and sundry things. And this is my lovely co-host.
Hi everyone, I'm Norn Queen Alexis. I am a gamer, a game designer, which is kind of neato. I designed my first game. I'm super excited about that. It's not out yet. I'm still working on that part. I got to finish the lore. Massive writer's block. But anyway, I am a 40K tournament player, one of the highest ranked here in Iceland, which isn't saying a lot, but for me, that's a lot. I am a commission painter and a cosplayer.
That's right. You should see her painting, by the way. It's really good.
Thank you.
But we're here today to talk about Space Elf, Space Pirates, and I am so excited. It looks like I think chat can hear us so far, so that's a good sign. And did you want to start us off, Alexis?
Okay. All right. Ross, I had a very serious question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were told what to do 24/7 and you just wanted to get away from that monotony and you just wanted to take things from other people in space?
Well,
Obviously.
you had me in the first half.
So the Eldar Corsairs. So who are they? The shortest way that I can put this is the Eldar Corsairs are Eldar that are just sick of the three other ways of living as an Eldar, either following the paths of the Eldar craft worlds, following rigorous training methods, and doing all of this. And I just don't have time for that. Or they are nerds that are just not into dinosaurs, which is weird. How can you not be into dinosaurs? That's like one of the core things that you grow up with as a child of the 90s. Uh, or you're a hedonistic monster, and you just get bored of that, I guess. So the jokes aside, the Eldar Corsairs take members from each and every single path of the Aeldari that just want to do something more with their lives. They want to explore. They want to do something. They want to raid. They want to protect certain things. They want to honor treaties. They want to steal things. Or they just want to fight in open space, because that is really cool to Eldar because they normally don't fly through space. They do for short distances when they have to get from planet to planet, but for intersystem transportation, they use things called the webway, and they don't fly in space that often. So when they're seen, they're accosted by the Imperials, obviously, and everyone else because they're Eldar. So they tend to hide and everything, but the Corsairs are just like, nah, we're here to fight. We're here to take stuff.
That's right. Fight and take stuff. They do. We have talked a little bit about the Eldari before on our show, but the I guess the easiest way to start is they are space elves. They have pointy ears. They are psychically gifted and tend to feel things a lot more in terms of emotions and things like that, sensation. They tend to feel it a lot more intensely than humans do.
Can you feel it, Mr. Krabs?
Aeldari, by and large, are the last survivors of a massive empire that once spanned most of the galaxy. That empire was destroyed when the ancient Eldar created Slaanesh in a moment of pure hedonism and decadence of their culture.
Look, that counts as a tactical oopsie daisy. Everyone's allowed one.
And the birth of Slaanesh created what's called the Eye of Terror. The Eye of Terror and is a major warp storm that occupies a significant portion of the galaxy. That was the core of the Aeldari Empire, was where that was. The survivors of that, which they call the Fall, it's called the Fall of the Eldar. The survivors of the Fall have split into numerous groups, and they exist kind of on a spectrum, with one end of the spectrum being the Asuryani, the craft world Eldar, which are the most disciplined, the most straight-laced. They are very strictly disciplined Eldar. Okay. And that spectrum goes all the way to the other end, which is the Drukhari, or the Dark Eldar, who are the most hedonistic, pleasure-seeking torturers, I think is probably the best way to put it. Inflicting
Gods
pain and
forbid
suffering.
some Eldar have hobbies.
Because inflicting pain and suffering is how they secure their souls against Slaanesh, who wants to devour all Eldari souls.
So what is Slaanesh? And why is it so important to the Eldar?
Slaanesh is one of the 4 chaos gods. It's important to the Eldar because Slaanesh particularly thirsts for the souls of the Eldari people, because the Eldari were the ones who created created Slaanesh. I mean, gendering Slaanesh is a difficult topic. The craft world Eldar, they secure their souls using soul stones that spirit stones that collects their soul when they die. The spirit goes into their spirit goes into the spirit stone. The spirit stone is then taken and placed on a thing called an infinity circuit, where all of the souls can gather and share knowledge and experiences and things of that nature.
It's basically a Call of Duty lobby.
God, I hope not. Oh my Lord. Can you imagine? So the spectrum includes five major branches, and then the last branch is the one we're going to talk about today, which but the first 5 branches are the Asuryani and the Drukhari, which are the 2 ends of the spectrum. There's the Harlequins, which are a mysterious
space clowns,
warrior performers who worship. They are devoted to Segarak, the laughing god, one of the last living gods of the Eldari, probably the last living, free, able to do whatever it wants god. Because Ynnari is still waking up. Iniad is still waking up. So the Harlequins, Asuryani, Drukhari. You can think of the Harlequins as the midpoint on the spectrum. There's the Exodites. We're not sure where they are in the spectrum, but the Exodites are the agrarian, dinosaur-riding elves or Eldari.
That GW just simply will not make a kit of, even though that would infinitely print the money.
We know very little about the Exodites. We know that they like to ride dinosaurs. They're rustic but resilient, and they have world spirits instead of infinity spirits. Sorry, world circuits. Instead of an infinity circuit, it's a world circuit where they circulate their souls within that. They have never had a model ever, so let's just put it that way. And then the most recent one are the Ynnari, the youngest kindred. They are the followers of Iniad, the god of the dead, led by Yvraine, who is a former Corsair and former Drukhari, interestingly enough. According to some lore, she spent some time as a Corsair. And the Ynnari are kind of a cross faction. Like the Ynnari can incorporate Eldar from all of these paths or kins. I guess is the way they put it. The kindreds. Now, what's funny is the Asuryani is the lens through which we see most of the Eldar. Like the majority of what we know comes from the perspective of the Asuryani, the craft world Eldar. And they are, again, the most disciplined. So they have a path for everything. There's a path of mourning if you want to be someone that goes to funerals a lot. They have a path of service if you want to, just carry a cup for your master for a while. They have paths of war and paths of peace and paths of the seer and paths of art. And the Asuryani, the craft world Eldar, they also have decided to put a path out there for people who don't want to be on a path. It's called the Path of the Outcast.
The path, it's just a cliff.
And the Path of the Outcast is where you get Eldari Rangers. First of all, Rangers are usually craft world Eldar, but not always, who leave the craft worlds and want to go experience things beyond the Asuryani strict culture. But also there's the Corsairs. The Corsairs are part of the Path of the Outcast. So who are the Corsairs? They're called the Anhrathe. Anhrathe. Anhrathe.
Now, GW definitely named them that so that they could copyright it.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about that at all. The Anhrathe are semi-nomadic pirate fleets. They are made up of mostly outcasts, and they sit culturally sort of outside the spectrum, but are able to, kind of like the Ynnari, they're able to accept anyone from any of the spectrums. The only ones we know of that they typically don't have on board their ships are Harlequins. COVID sighting. Typically, Harlequins are not part of the crew for Corsairs, but that doesn't mean that they can't be. It's just that they're probably the rarest. At least it's from my understanding, is that they're the rarest. And the Corsairs, they are not fully committed to anything. Some of them lean more towards the hedonistic, the more thrill-seeking daredevils. Some of them lean more towards the craft worlds, like Prince Uriel. He's come to the defense of Iyanden multiple times. Iyanden being one of the major craft worlds.
So
and that's where he's from.
Oh, sorry.
No,
one of the things that I really love about the Corsairs is that it is the middle ground for somebody who has fallen from the paths, who's becoming a Drukhari, like a Pokemon evolution. It's their middle evolution. And then it's from somebody who's becoming Drukhari to start getting away from the Drukhari because they've had enough of it. And they might actually go to a different path of the Aeldari. I don't think a Drukhari can become craft world. But I'm not entirely sure on that one. I've never read a source that said that they directly could, but also I've never read something that said they can't.
Well, it's very difficult, first of all, because the craft worlders, the Asuryani, tend to be very, very suspicious of Drukhari for very good reasons.
Yeah.
And
what? The torture elves are suspicious?
And it's worth pointing out that, again, the Drukhari, they cater to their hedonistic, pleasure-seeking, thrill-seeking nature. So it takes a very specific kind of Drukhari to not want that and prefer something more structured.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the Asuryani just don't go to Cormorag. They don't. Very, very rarely do they go.
Look, we keep inviting them. We even bring them sometimes.
So the Corsairs is like the best. It's like the off ramp for a Drukhari who doesn't want to keep torturing and killing people just so his soul can be safe. He'll be like, you know what? Maybe I'll go do Corsair stuff for a while, and it's not impossible. Like I could certainly see a Corsair, kind of like Ynnari or Yvraine, deciding to stop at a craft world one day and be like, you know what, I'm just going to stay here. And if they're respected enough as a Corsair, there's a good chance it could happen, especially if they were to a very warlike craft world like Bieltan.
Yeah. Or go to one of the dead craft worlds that just have no craft worlders, like actually living craft worlders left. What's the yellow one that has the most like wraiths?
Iyenden.
Ayenden. Yeah, they could probably go there and just be like, I'm alive. And they'd be like, you know what, good enough.
Well, Ayenden also has a very close relationship with Corsairs because Prince Uriel, the most well-known Corsair, is from there. The most famous of the Corsair princes is Ayenden. So yeah, they could certainly. Ayenden would probably be Ayenden and Bealtown would be two that would be more welcoming, I think, than the others. But it's it's possible. Let's just put it that way.
Do have a question from Hawk that I really like.
Could a Drukhari bring their Slith companion with them? Slith Corsairs. Sure. I mean, the Corsairs
technically yes, right?
Corsairs don't have like a lot of rules. It's a lot. Parlay is a guideline. It's not really a rule.
They have to vibe check the slip.
So yeah. So here's the thing. Remember when I said that the thrill seeking aspect is kind of important? Corsairs are the absolute tip of the thrill seekers. This is the extreme sports of the Eldar. Why? Alexis, why would you imagine that being a Corsair is considered an extreme risk-taking activity by Aeldari?
They warp travel. They can use warp travel. That's as dangerous as it comes for Eldar. That is the most dangerous thing that they could do. That is the equivalent. There's a Victor. That is the equivalent of walking up to a bear, slapping it a few times, and then thinking you could run away from it. Or getting into a shark cage and opening the door, just being like, hi.
Well, typically Eldari ships do not travel the warp. Typically Eldari ships use the webway. But they are in danger of losing their souls because Eldari Corsairs, they're outside the path discipline. So all of their intense emotions and psychic sensitivity are just unshielded, just hanging in the wind. And the constant combat, hedonism, and distance from any kind of safety net means that these are the risk takers. These are the daredevils. They carry the full weight of their Aeldari consciousness alone. Only individuals of exceptionally strong character can survive for very long without succumbing to despair or madness or worse. So the seer guided rituals of the craft worlds is where the Asuryani, that's how they kind of maintain their calm, right? That's how they keep themselves from drifting into the behavior that created Slaanesh in the first place.
That is something we should explore a little bit more, is that Eldar have a how to put this? They get so hyper focused on one thing that they do it to an extreme if they're not kept in check. And there's in fact a leader that an Altarch. Like if you have mastered something that you have hyper focused on long enough, you become an Altarch, which is really, really cool in my opinion. But it also just makes me think of how many people in like just around me would be like an Altarch of trains.
Well,
Altarchs hyper focused on it.
Altarchs are the military leaders.
Yes, they are military leaders, but they are the ones that hyper focus on it.
Right. You may be thinking Exarchs.
Exarchs, yes. Sorry, Altarchs and Exarchs. My dyslexic brain just goes, yeah, these are the same.
So we should
Altarchs and Masters of all. Yes, thank you, Vorn.
Let's look at some super chats while we're doing this.
Yes.
Skitari Boy. Thank you, Skitari Boy. Skitari Boy rolls in with a yar har.
Fiddly dee. Being a pirate is all right with me. Do what you will, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Is that from Lazy Town?
Yes, it is.
Oh, God, I love that. Oh, so much fun.
Also, yesterday was Skitari Boy's birthday, according to a message that they sent. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Skitari Boy. May the Forges of Mars celebrate the year of your birth.
Oh, I clicked on it and then you clicked.
Skitari Boy says, how about a 40k pirate type tier list? So Rogue Trader would be one, Corsairs, Freebooters, Chaos Corsairs, that's 4.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
I don't think Necrons have a pirate.
I don't think not yet. Not yet.
Yet.
Not yet. They, if they're going the undead trope thing, though, there should be a ghost ship somewhere in there.
Yeah, they definitely have to have a ghost ship.
So
Imperials have pirates, but they just don't have names.
Well, that's why I said rogue trader. So
yeah, I would count the rogue traders in there.
Yeah, for sure. So rogue traders, that's 4. I don't know of any others off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's more we could talk about. Tyranids definitely don't have pirates.
No, unfortunately.
But orcs do. Tau, maybe? I'm not sure. It's an interesting question.
Tau would be super cool if they had pirates. The Demiurge are definitely a privateer that is a merchant.
There you go.
That goes to war. That's a pirate. That counts.
That's technically true. Well, we'll think about it. We'll definitely think about it, Starboy. Thank you for that. That's a great idea. Biofoot 7874 coming in with a super chat. Wild Victor spotted. Get him. Are you going to attack him with fishmen? Biofoot?
Oh my God. So we had a fishman scare the other day. One of the newest Warhammer fantasy roleplay books had a fish creature with human-like appendages, and Victor had to contact one of the writers to ask if it was a fishman, and they were just like, no, it's not a fishman.
What the hell was it?
I will ask Victor when he's done pooping.
That's crazy. And then we've got this one from Leader 2457. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you, sir. Super chats are the best way to keep the show running and support us directly. So we are very grateful to everybody who super chats, and it is a highlight of the show. So Leader 2457 asks, Corsair, my favorite. We are all doomed, so let's at least have some fun. For the Eldar as a whole, in regards to their different relationships to the doom of their race, I think Games Workshop might accidentally have modeled them after the stages of grief. Oh,
I honestly agree with that. Victor, what was the name of the fishman creature in the newest Warhammer Fantasy roleplay book?
Oh, it wasn't the fishman. It was something called a Dark Spite, 6th or 7th army book, Dark Elves.
That.
Okay. Dark Spite, I guess. So probably
Lazy Town is an Icelandic thing.
What did he say?
What did you say?
Lazy Town is an Icelandic creation.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That's right. That's right. Lazy Town was Icelandic. Anyway, Leader 2457, the Aeldari being different stages of grief. That's a really interesting way to look at it, because the Dark Eldar are kind of having a millennium long wake, a party.
Yeah.
The craft world Eldar, they're kind of in a millennium long funeral. The Harlequins are just kind of pretending it didn't happen, I guess.
Yep. Denial.
That's really interesting. I guess the Corsairs
Ynnari are acceptance.
Yeah, and the Corsairs are anger, right? Are rage. That's really interesting. I mean, I don't know if that's intentional. I think it's an interesting lens to look at it through though. It's really exceptionally
that is super cool though.
Good comment. Yeah, do appreciate that. All right. So yeah, so if you're a Corsair and your spirit stone is lost or broken, your soul is just gone. It's devoured. So they're at enormous risk of their soul, but they're also at an enormous risk of falling into self-destructive urges. They don't have the paths. They don't have the paths. And again, the Asuryani will call anything a path. They call there's a path of damnation, which is like, you're on the way to dying. They're into labels, the craft world. They're so into labels. So Corsairs,
the path of labels.
Probably. The path of judgment. That's really what they should be. Is the craft world. They're very judgy.
The exarch of the path of judgment is Ed's parents from Ed, Edd and Eddy.
So the Drukhari are said to be on the path of damnation, just to be clear. Anyway, Corsairs, their life tends to revolve around risk-taking, drug use, thrill-seeking, and cruelty in battle.
They're awesome.
This over the years, this can erode any restraints until Corsairs effectively become indistinguishable from Drukhari raiders. but that is not true for all. That is a on a long enough timeline kind of progression. Many Corsairs will pull back when they feel they're going too far, and some, like Prince Uriel, will actually return to their home craft world or wherever they came from to kind of recenter themselves, take a breath, and see if this is something they really want to keep doing. The romantic image of Aeldari Corsairs is that they are these freewheeling space pirates who do what they want whenever they want, kind of like how we see pirates during the Age of Sail here on Earth. But the truth is much harsher, just like the way we see pirates here on Earth.
I just want to comment, the pirates here on Earth implies that at the same time there are pirates in space.
I mean, here on Earth as in the real world, as opposed to the fictional reality that we're discussing. Although there are pirates, here actually in 2026, they exist. So there you go. But anyway, so what do Corsairs, what's the harsh reality of Eldar Corsairs? They tend to be cynical, hardened, sometimes outright sinister, very much pragmatists rather than carefree swashbucklers, although some of them like to portray that, they like to lean into that romanticized image of being a carefree swashbuckler. Just saying that's the surface,
It might be something that they feel like socially obligated to be. Especially when it comes to like their trades with other races, what they consider lesser races. Because Eldari Corsairs are known to make trade deals with Imperials, Zotes, apparently. I thought that was cool that was on the list, that they make trade deals with Zotes. I was like, yo, that's awesome. Because
that's old lore, very old lore, but yes.
Yeah, but Zotes in current lore, well, the Black Library, the Black Stone Fortress novel, the one in there is a merchant, so it does make sense that he would need protection as he travels back and forth.
Okay, that's fair. So yeah, I keep forgetting that Blackstone Fortress talked about Zotes.
The one Zote.
The one. So yeah, here's the fun thing about outcasts, specifically Corsairs, because like the Rangers, people see the Rangers and they're like, oh, okay, that's that edgelord broody guy who just want to kind of go off by himself, or he's like that doomsday prepper guy who likes to go hunt his own food, kind of thing, right? Whereas you don't do that. Whereas the Corsairs are like the fun outcasts. They're like, oh, that guy, he's got a cool spaceship and he goes around doing cool swashbucklery things and he dresses really stylishly and like all the ladies are really into him. Like there's just a very different view of the Anhrathe as opposed to the Rangers, which I thought was interesting. Rangers are also good.
They do still try to seek the services of Rangers as marksmen.
Oh yeah, like they'll work with them. Yeah, I just want to be clear. I'm talking about how the other Eldar see the Corsairs or see the outcasts in general.
Yep.
And the funny thing is that most Eldari from all spectrums, they see the Corsairs as kind of contagious, spiritually contagious. And what I mean by this is that their presence and the stories that they tell can tempt people away from the Drukhari, away from the Asteriani, away even from the Exodite way of life, because it's cool space pirate shit, and you get really bored doing the same thing over and over again for millennia, because Eldar live a very long time.
One of the things that I like about the Corsairs is it's as you go down the Aeldari line, you get closer and closer to what they were prior to the fall of the Eldar. So Corsairs represent like that free will, the exploration, the thrill seeking, where Drukhari represent the hedonistic behaviors that they were doing that gooned a god into existence.
Well, some fan theories suggest that the Corsairs are the original versions, the ancient Aeldari. This is who they were. In a lot of ways,
because it is a mix of everything, essentially.
Exactly.
And you can have like craft worlders getting along with Drukhari, maybe temporarily, but they can. if they're Corsairs.
Right. And it's worth pointing out that our named character guy, Prince Uriel, who has his own model and everything, he's kind of the heroic end of the spectrum for the Eldar space pirates. But there is a spectrum, and on the other end of that spectrum are like straight out, well, Nestor Vitumbra points out, in Doom of Mimera, some Eldar Corsairs are outright slavers who abduct entire populations, not unlike a cabal of Cormorag. Yes, there are some Corsairs that are just barely not Drukhari.
And true. Uriel has a dual disc. We all know this.
That's the thing on his arm in the model. Yep. Looks kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh dual disc.
I still need to find somebody to 3D print me a tiny Yugi head so I could put it on him and have Dark Magician behind him as a Wraith construct.
So the way that the Corsairs are seen as potentially destabilizing factors for other Eldari cultures means that they get cut off a lot. They are held at arm's length a lot more even than Rangers are in some cases. They're not truly welcome in the craft worlds. They're not trusted in Cormorag, although trusted Cormorag is a very different thing. And so most of the time the Corsair groups, the Corsair warbands, are these small paranoid groups where mutiny, betrayal, and burnout are constant threats.
Damn, that just sounds like being a millennial.
So they so their undisciplined mind is a problem, right? First of all, because we know that it can lead them towards madness, or as Alexis was saying, that single-mindedness. They also they don't have, so practically speaking though, they lack industrial, medical, and the psychic support of craft worlds. They have their own psychers, guys called Void Dreamers, and what's the other kind? There's like a lesser version of that, Way Seekers.
There are Void Seekers, Way Seekers, and Void hang on. It's Way Seekers, Void Dreamers, and Soul Weavers.
Right. Those are the names of their psyker. The Eldar who've decided to focus on their psychic powers and read the future. Those are those guys. But keeping in mind that those their fleets, their ships, sometimes their fleet could be just one ship, sometimes their fleet could be dozens. But these groups are generally smaller and less well supported by psychic prophecy than the other Eldari are.
This is also why they might contract Imperial vessels. Like, will protect you, but in reality, the Aeldari might be using the Imperials as a slower vessel to get away from, in case if they're going from place A to place B, they'll ally themselves with the Imperium, fly along the way until, like, say something comes along to attack them, and then they're like, huh, that Imperial ship is a lot slower than us. Whoop.
Yep. Corsairs tend to style themselves as pirate princes. They believe themselves to be the aristocracy of the void. So
that's barely true, though.
Well, so any Eldar in general is prideful as hell, just super prideful. So the Corsairs are like, well, of course we're the nobility of space. I myself am Prince so and so. They will give themselves grand titles, because why not? Because they're Eldar and they look down on everyone else. But yes,
including other Eldar.
And as part of this viewpoint of themselves as the aristocracy of space, they need to fund that lifestyle, right? They need money, and to do this, they will often take on piracy, but they will sometimes even take almost suicidal jobs.
Going to Crone Worlds.
Like going to Crone Worlds, deep void runs, high risk contracts, because those things also appeal to their thrill-seeking nature. It's exciting, it's interesting, it puts them on the edge between life and death, because that's where they live. And it means that they have a lot of attrition.
Yeah. Yeah, and Eldar, it takes a long time to make an Eldar child. So them just losing a couple is like almost 100 years worth of work. I think it's actually like 10 years it takes to make a single Eldar child,
So this part,
assuming
yeah,
assuming they're not just creating it like a homunculus creates them or cloning them like the Dark Eldar do.
these pirate princes, these pirate groups, they are this is what happens when you live without discipline. This is a good viewpoint of what Eldari are like in the wild without any kind of guardrails. And we've got a super chat that illustrates this. Watchdog 3079, thank you very much for your support, sir. He says, would you say they are more unpredictable than the Dark Eldar? Without question.
Yeah.
These are the most unpredictable. You have no idea what a Corsair is typically going to do.
Because a Corsair, like the actual prince or princess that's leading them, or the Baron, or whatever they're calling themselves, the leader of that fleet might actually be serious when they say, hey, I will serve you for the rest of your life. And they could be completely serious, or they could just stab you in the neck in like the next second, and you have no idea which one you're getting.
The most predictable pirate prince that we know of is Prince Uriel. And the only thing you can say with certainty about him is that he likes to protect his home craft world. But that's as far as it goes, is he likes to do it. Is he guaranteed to show up? No, but he likes to do it. That's the one thing we know about him. Like, that's the farthest I would go, right?
We also do know that Corsairs are one of the few Eldari that actually use bionics. They have several different bionics that they actually use, unlike the craft world, where the craft world they don't strictly ban it. It's just very rarely used.
Well, there's two reasons for this. One is purely aesthetics and references to pirate culture. The eye patch or the hook hand or the peg leg. But the second reason is the fact that we discussed before. They are so far removed from typical Eldar culture. Civilization, I guess is probably the best way I put it, that they lack a lot of medical support that a typical craft world Eldar guardian, if he gets his hand blown off in a fight and he goes back to his craft world, they have specialists who can heal that, who can grow a new hand for him, right?
Yep.
And if you're a Drukhari, if you're a Dark Eldar and you lose a hand fighting a space marine and you go back to Cormorag, you'll have to do some weird ass deal with the homunculi, but they will grow you a hand and replace it and you'll be fine. I presume the Exodites have something similar, and the Ynnari, of course, have their high priestess, Ivrain, who can be like, I heal you, and it just happens.
Yeah.
But the Corsairs don't have that kind of stuff. They have like a med bay on their ship with some sort of high tech. It's generally really high tech, as the Aeldari are very highly technologically advanced. But even so, there's only so much it can do, because it's not what you would. It's not like a full hospital, right? It's not like what you would get in a civilized area.
So one of the things that I noticed while reading through the Aeldari, the Corsairs and everything, is that they lack bone singers. Bone singers are those that can manipulate Wraithbone into a plethora of different things. And this is typically how the Aeldari regrow limbs. They fuse themselves with the Wraithbone and regrow limbs. So them not having it and having to rely on technology is considered barbaric.
Well, I think they do have bone singers, but they just don't have as many. Like most of the time, and my understanding is, again, the Corsairs, we don't know a lot about them, but my understanding is that the bone singers that are Corsairs are primarily there to fix the ship.
Yeah.
Not and that's like what they're good at. So yeah. We got another super chat from Ricardo Andre 7049, my debate partner. He says, what is the name of the Eldari language? Eltharin? Oh, that's a trivia question that I am going to.
So I always thought it was Eltharin. Like, I'm pretty sure it's referred to that in the Path books, but honestly, I'm not sure, because I confuse a lot of the Eldar lore with Lord of the Rings lore. because the original inspiration for the elves in the Warhammer settings was Tolkien's elves. So yeah, I get confused.
I don't think
But Eltharin is fantasy, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, my understanding is that there's a lexicon for the Eldari, but I don't know that they've ever said what their language is called. So if you have a reference for that, cool, provide it, but I don't know.
I think in the RPG books it's just called Language Eldar.
Eltharin is from Warhammer Fantasy, says Hawk. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna shrug. Maybe, maybe, I don't know. Good question though. You stumped me, sir, Ricardo Andre. That is not a thing that happens to me very often. So back to the Corsairs. Excuse me. So they choose to live this piratical life, and they survive by raiding, smuggling, doing mercenary work, and trade. They will just carry goods.
So one of my favorite things is actually that they trade with rogue traders quite a bit. And rogue traders both love and hate them because, again, you never know what they're going to do.
It's true.
And they can surround your ship almost immediately because their spaceships are very hard to detect.
And agile, very agile.
Yeah. So when it comes down to trading with Drukhari, the rogue traders kind of know where they stand. They're like, you're going to betray us, so let's prep for it. And they'll do like light trading with Drukhari. With Craft World, it's very much a militaristic trade deal where it's like, hey, we'll support you for a mission. You give us this and we'll never see each other again. With Corsairs, it's one of those things where they're like, here's a super rare weapon. Okay, why am I getting this? You'll find out. And then they leave. And it's like, do I take it?
Yeah, there is no overall, like, there's no you can't say that all Corsairs deal with the Imperium in this way, because they're just so varied, and they run the gamut. So some of them work great with the Imperium, some don't. But we can say we do have ways of knowing how they cooperate with the Craft Worlds or cooperate with Cormorag and the Drukhari. Which one would you like to hear about first?
You know what? Let's go Craft World. The Craft Macaroni and Cheese of Eldar.
Well, funny you should mention that, because the Craft World Eldar have at numerous points been the strongest faction in the game over the editions.
They are often the strongest because of they're the second hardest army in the game to balance.
So they the craft macaroni and cheese has been said about them at least 20 or 30 years that I've been doing it. 20 plus years, let's put it that way. So with the Craft Worlds, a lot of Corsairs do come from the Craft Worlds, and they have family there. They have emotional connections. They may even have prophetic ties. Like the Farseers might be like, you will return at this particular time to help us avert some doom, right? Which is something that has been said about Iriel and Ienden. Some fleets owe a very specific or explicit allegiance to a particular Craft World. Iriel and Ienden are linked very strongly, for example. Craft Worlds also tend to use Corsairs kind of like deniable assets. They are covert groups that they can use to perform raids, diversions, or do dirty work that would otherwise violate their strictures. Like, we have this treaty with the Imperium about this one particular world. We're not happy about the treaty, so we're gonna tell some Corsairs, hey, there's a particularly juicy target you can go get there, and stir up the Imperials to get them all like leaving the planet or something, so that we can swoop in and do what we need to do.
I can add to this. There is actually a story between how the Samhan and Black Templar of all things made a temporary alliance. The Samhan cannot stand. Well, every time Samhan is told to ally with something, they always betray it. For those of you that don't know, Samhan are a group of Eldar that are red and white, typically is their color scheme, and they want to go fast. That's their whole thing. They're very fast. But in this temporary alliance, they couldn't attack the Black Templar, so oh no, conveniently somebody else attacked them, and then they attacked the Samhan, which then initiated a war between the two.
Yeah, the Eldar are known to be perfidious and cunning. The fun thing about Samhan is, what if orc cult of speed, but Eldar?
I actually made, as an orc army a very long time ago, the Sam Gorks.
So yeah, they trade with the craft world. They trade. Usually, they get soul stones. That's like one of the things that Corsairs want is soul stones. And in return, they get artifacts, military support, or goods that just the craft world can't, for whatever reason, produce.
And one of the major things that they go and get, if like one of the things they're hired from craft worlds, is to go to crone worlds to get soul stones.
Because Corsairs are one of the few Eldar crazy enough to try it.
Yep.
You want to talk about risky? That's one of the riskiest things you can do is go to a crone
I
world.
want them to talk about crone worlds so badly because I want to know what the hell is on a crone world that the Eldar are so scared of. Because the only thing that we know that are from the crone worlds are those creatures that are half elf, half demon that the Drukhari have in their wastes. What are they called? I can't remember their
Mandrakes?
names. Yeah, mandrakes. We know that the mandrakes are originally from crone worlds. So it's like, well, the theory is they're from crone worlds. I can't say they are from Crone.
Yeah, I think there's multiple takes on mandrakes at this point.
Yeah, well, they're one of the units that keep getting retconned because they're no longer half demons, but they are.
Well, they're weird, that's for sure. We'll talk about mandrakes eventually, I think. Many Corsairs actually can return to craft world life. This is described as being all the wiser for their exploits, although reintegration into Asuryani culture is difficult because once you've tasted that freedom, it's really hard to go back to being that strictly bound. But it does happen. It's known to happen.
It's not just a phase, Mom. Says it being
It's totally phase. So what about Cormorag, Alexis?
So are we talking about how the Corsairs attack it or how the Corsairs make trade deals with Cormorag?
Yeah, let's start with that. What do they trade to Cormorag?
So they trade slaves. Lots and lots and lots of living creatures from all over the galaxy, probably including Zotes.
They do slaves, rare materials, loot, weapons, drugs. Drugs are another big one.
Yep.
Vat grown materials, and other services like transporting dignitaries. Like, remember, Cormorag is very Byzantine, right? There's like schemes within schemes within schemes. So Corsairs can be a really good way to get a thing or a person to a different place without anybody suspecting it.
As weird as it is, I always think of Cormorag as 1920s Americana. Yeah, see, we need them space drugs.
Oh my god. That's wild.
Rattle them, boys.
Many Corsairs do lean Drukhari as well. They drift towards slavery, torture, and some of them will ultimately join cabals or Corsair bands if their hedonism goes too far. According to some sources, Ivrain, the leader of the Inari faction, before she was a Drukhari, she was in fact a Corsair.
And then she straight up died and became an avatar of a god.
So there you go.
You never know where your life is going to turn.
And as we mentioned before, this is also the off-ramp for any Drukhari who are tired of life in Cormorag, because the endless suspicion and paranoia and pain and suffering, it can get a little old after a while. So if you want to step away from that while still doing the things that you're good at, like fighting people and stealing stuff and taking slaves, then you can go do that and be a Corsair instead of having to swear your services to an Archon.
So one of the other things that they could be doing is fleeing Kamara. Like somebody is coming after them, like an Archon is coming after them to collect. They can flee and join the Corsairs to get away from them. They could also see the Corsairs as a way for them to gain political, not infamy. I mean, in Kamara, it would be political infamy. so they can gain some power, some money, some currency, or some rare goods that they can then sell back so that they can move themselves higher in the political scales of Kamara, the
Corsairs,
social scales of Kamara. Thank you, Breen.
Corsairs are essentially the ultimate free agents in Eldari society. They can do, they can engage in diplomacy with rogue traders and inquisitors and craft worlds and Drukhari, and basically anyone a Corsair can reach out to and talk to and engage with, where the Drukhari and the craft worlders wouldn't. And that's a big deal. It gives them a wide range of latitude and more connections typically. I think Eldrad Elthran is the one craft worlder who has like the most connections, and maybe Asdrubal Vect on the Drukhari side has the most connections. But compared to your typical craft world Farseer or Dark Eldar Archon, Corsairs have a very, very wide web of people they can talk to and discuss things with, or ask for help, or barter, or hire things out. So the other things that they do is they are kind of like a fast reaction force, scouts, possibly even like a fire brigade for Cormorog and craft worlds. They will smash enemies and then vanish or retreat, and then come back later and say, "Hey, did you see that cool thing we did? Now give us the stuff that we want.
Money, please.
Money, please." And sometimes,
anytime I do a job.
Yeah, this adds to their unpredictability, and it adds to their legend too, because there's nothing more story worthy of a story than showing up unexpectedly at the last second, like Han Solo at the Death Star run. You're all clear, kid. Now let's pull this thing and go home. Yeah, Han Solo is essentially an Eldari Corsair.
I absolutely love them. One of the cool things is their fleets are just fast as hell, stealth-like, and they can get into Imperial space or even Orc space very quickly, hit a target, get out before anybody has a chance to react. Which, as a Viking reenactor, do you know what that's called? That's called Viking.
Nice. Yes, they're very much Vikings. So, Alexis, if I were to say to you that there are 4 different ways that the Corsairs protect their souls from Slaanesh, what would you imagine those 4 things to be?
Okay, saying nuh-uh really hard.
Believe it or not, that's on one of the ways.
Okay, that's sheer willpower, just willing it into existence by going, nuh-uh, nope. The other one would be maybe making deals with a homunculus somewhere to clone them and pull their soul to the clone the second they die, similar to what Drukhari do. Third way would be steal a spirit stone off of somebody, or a soul stone. And 4, really hope that you are away from them.
So the 4 ways, you hit the 3 of them for sure. They do carry spirit stones on their ships, and in fact, one of the things they'll do when they contact craft worlds for trade is they'll like hand off, here's filled spirit stones, please put them in your infinity circuit. Okay, that's one of the things. And usually there's at least one guy on board a Corsair ship whose job it is to pick up fallen spirit stones so that they can be recovered later.
Ooh, spirit stone. Ooh,
yeah,
spirit stone. Ooh, spirit stone. Ooh, spirit stone.
A piece of candy. Yeah. The ones who lean Drukhari, excuse me, the Dark Eldar way.
Drukharis.
They feed on pain, and they use that to keep She Who Thirsts at bay, which is another name for Slaanesh, is She Who Thirsts. They will sometimes torture prisoners. They will sell captives to homunculi in exchange for favors, treatments, protections. So they can outsource their soul maintenance to the Dark City of Cormorog, if they want to. The third way is willpower, personal disciplines and willpower. It doesn't help them if they die, but it helps them from. It helps keep them from the too much risk taking. Let's put it that way. It keeps them alive. And then the 4th option is the newest option, which is the Ynnari. They can become one of the Reborn, and several Corsairs are working with Ivrain through to the God of the Dead, Iniad, because this is a great alternative solution. It is not yet a universal thing amongst the Corsair. It's still kind of amongst the Corsairs. They still see it as kind of a fringe, like, okay, you're going to those weird dead god people, huh? Okay. All right. I suppose.
Are they going to blast My Chemical Romance all day? Me in the background jamming out to My Chemical Romance.
So what's really interesting is that on the same ship, you could have all four of these approaches represented.
Mm-hmm.
There could be guys with spirit stones walking around. There could be guys who are in the hold torturing prisoners, and there could be a guy who's quietly building a shrine to Iniad, in one of his cargo spaces. I don't know.
The worst part is how I imagine this, okay? It's the one with soul stones just walking around and you just hear them jingling and everything. And he walks past a kid that's just like building with building blocks. And that's the Ynnari. And then he peers into the room and just sees a guy tear it. And he's like, right, I'm going to leave.
I don't need to be around that. I think anybody who served on a Navy ship or a merchant vessel probably can relate to the fact that some people on the crew are just very weird and tend to do their own thing.
Just every now and then one crewmate just carves up another crewmate. It just happens.
I mean, we got a super chat for Biofoot 7874. He says, "What do we say to the god of death? No, you."
One of my favorite things in 40K is I think it's an understanding of all the writers that willpower is one of the strongest forces in 40K. And the stronger your will is, the more you can resist like chaos and evil and psychic powers. It's kind of neat.
So what are some, I know you've been waiting to talk about the Corsair units.
Yeah, a bit. I still have to read the new ones. And I'm really excited. I want to see their points costs quite a bit, but we got a bunch of new stuff and I want to see how they actually run on the battlefield. I was watching a live stream from Scary, Scarredcast. A really nice guy, really good friend of mine. Absolutely love him. He's the best Drukhari player in the entire world. He thinks that they might be too many points, and I am, from what I saw on his live stream, he might have a different opinion now. I'm not saying that this is his definitive opinion, but from what I watched, he thinks that they're a bit too many points for what they do, but they can work. You just have to be the greatest player in the entire world to make it work, similar to how Genestealer Cult plays. Because if you make a mistake while playing them, you kind of die. For those of you that don't know, there are certain armies in Warhammer 40K that are incredibly difficult to play. The most difficult, in my opinion, is Genestealer Cult, because you need to know your opponent's entire movement phase better than they do in order to win. They're in a pretty rough spot right now. I think they only have like a 47% win rate or a 48% win rate. So they're not doing great, but they're not doing bad. And I think that's where you're never going to take Corsairs on their own, unfortunately. Eldar don't play that way. They play very much mixed Craftworld and Corsairs, or they play Ynnari. Both are really good ways to play, and I'm very excited to see how these hit the battlefield, and I want to see all the crazy different colors that we're going to get, and it's going to be so amazing to see them on the battlefield, and I can't wait to paint them. I'm hoping people commission me to paint them because I don't want to buy them myself and paint them. I want people to commission me.
Well, why don't we start with the specialists, which is the kill team. The Void Scarred kill team is the specialists of the Corsairs.
So how they're used on the 40K battlefield is very much a screening and action monkey unit. They can deal damage, but typically they're not there to deal damage. They're there to do their job. They get their objectives and then they get the hell out of there because they have uppy downy. You want to get them away as quickly as possible. You want to screen your units first turn, then move them away.
Well, okay.
That's pretty much their entire setup right now.
One of their guys is called the Soul Weaver. He is their medic type, essentially. He tends to the soul stones and to wounded comrades. He offers limited healing and defensive boosts. They have a guy called a Shade Runner, who is a close combat specialist, a high mobility melee operative with extra movement tricks. He's basically an assassin. The Shade Runner is basically an assassin.
Yep.
My favorite is the Fate Dealer. The Fate Dealer is a gambler. He's the Lando Calrissian of the Aeldari Corsairs. He's a luck manipulating specialist focused on rerolls and mission utility. And I love this guy. He's just super cool.
More than likely, they have rules that represent this in Kill Team.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
talking about the Kill Team. We're talking about the Void Scarred Kill Team.
Now, in 40K, the Void Scar Kill Team in 10th edition is its own unit that has its own abilities. In Kill Team, it's very much individualistic. I don't play Kill Team that often, so actually I haven't played Kill Team in over a year.
And they have a guy called a Wayseeker. The Wayseekers, as we said before, are kind of the junior psychers, like a junior Void Dreamer. This guy, he has void-tuned witchcraft to guide their raids and their boarding actions. He's if you want to think of it, a pirate prophet who is casting the runes to determine what the future holds for his band.
These also act as the squad sergeant.
Well, squad sergeants, though, are called Fellarks.
Yeah.
Fellarks are the Corsair squad leaders. They can take exotic weapons like, shuriken pistols aren't that exotic, but they can also take fusion pistols, neurodisruptors, fusion guns, blasters. Well, not fusion guns. I'm sorry. Raiding hooks. They can take the raiding hooks. I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, Fellarks are the squad leaders for the infantry. And the infantry squads are called Void Scarred, which is the kill team, or Void Reavers. These guys carry what are called Corsair blades. And Corsair blades are basically power weapons.
Eldari power weapons. So they act on psychic powers with power fields.
Right.
Because reasons. I do like that Eldar power weapons are not as explained as 40K power weapons.
You mean Imperium power weapons.
Yeah.
There's the Sky Reavers. These are the brand new guys. These are the jump pack. They have little wings, little anti-grav packs and wings. Elite shock troops is basically what these guys do. They like Alexis was saying, they jump in, they attack at close range, and then they bounce away.
Yep. The one thing that I'm worried about with them is they're way too similar to Swooping Hawks in terms of what they do. So it's really going to depend on point cost, which one gets used.
Swooping Hawks are, of course, aspect warriors for the craft world. So those are full-time soldiers, not pirates.
Yep. It's just in 10th edition right now, they are seen as a little bit better. But we haven't seen the full release of the elf stuff yet. So we're still waiting.
They've also got the Corsair Viper, or Starfang Viper, is a light two-man skimmer, anti-grav skimmer. It's like a vehicle. It's like a gun platform that they use for raiding. Some of these mount Jukari weapons, like splinter guns. Some of them have grenade launchers with kind of weird effects on them. And they tend to be really good at like scouting and swift assaults. Basically, they don't use. I think some of the older lore said the Corsairs could have the grav tanks, like the full vehicle list, but nowadays they seem to be limited, kind of like the Harlequins are limited to just the really light vehicles, the smaller stuff.
So if they have access to the keyword Aeldari, they probably, it might be locked to the keyword Craft World.
And then you've got your commanders, which are the Void Dreamers. These are your equivalent. They're essentially a Farseer, just, more piratey.
Yeah, they kind of are. They also do focus on more short-term than long-term when it comes to seeing the future.
And a lot of times what they're focused on is the navigation of the ship. Not like a navigator through the warp for the Imperium, but like actually this is one of the reasons why Corsair ships are so agile, is because the Void Dreamers are really good at telling them, okay, roll right. Okay, now, full dive. Okay, now, full stop. They're reading the flow of space the flow of a battle in space, rather than like a typical Eldar Farseer reads on a more macro level. These guys are a little more focused on an individual vessel or a small fleet. Would
And
you
one of
agree
the
with that?
coolest, yes, I would. One of the coolest things I love about them is how important they are for warp travel. Like they actually shield the ships, so it's almost like they're giving it a Guller field.
Well,
Uh,
it's important to remember.
not
So it's very important to remember that most of the time, like 90% of the time, the Eldar do not use the warp. They travel through the webway.
Yes, but these actually do protect them with warp travel
Which
when they warp travel.
which is extremely rare. I just wanted to
Yeah.
point that out.
It also helps them on warp tainted space hulks and things of that nature, which is important because these guys are going to be hired to go onto space hulks and raid them.
Typically, they carry a lot of the same war gear that you'd see on a Craft World or Age Kari force: splinter weapons, fusion pistols, shuriken stuff, flamers, shredders, blasters. One of the things that they carry that's kind of interesting is called a raiding hook. It's very thematic for pirates to carry a hook weapon, which I thought was really fun.
It is pretty funny.
They used to have some stuff called void burners and kinetic shields. I'm not sure if that's still a thing, but it was back in the day when Forge World was doing it. They had some special gear.
I'm still trying to find the name of their very unique Viper that has the backwards facing gun.
I want to say that's the Starfang, but I could be wrong.
I want to say so too, but I can't find it for some reason.
Obviously, the other commander other than the Void Dreamer is the Prince or Princess, the one in charge. Their version of an autarch, essentially. Their war leader or great captain. I think autarchs again are more focused on the macro scale. Like an autarch is like, I'm going to lead my entire force to war. I know the strategy, I know the logistics, I know the tactics, and I know I have a full seer council to tell me the flow of the battle as we go. So they're like Patton with his maps in Africa, right? Whereas the pirate princes, they're thinking on smaller scales. They're like, okay, I've got my ship and my crew. I've got my Void Dreamer to tell me what's happening with my crew. So these guys, they just fight on a much more limited or scope. Now, sometimes that can be good. Sometimes that means they pay attention to the little things, whereas the autarchs and the farseers are looking at the big things. But it's pretty interesting, I think. We've got a fun super chat from Super Orlock. Super Orlock in the super chats. He gives us a cat face. Thank you very much, Super Orlock. Appreciate your support.
Ahoy. Since we're pirates.
Ahoy, hoy.
And yes, you are correct. It was the Starfang. I had to just check it really quickly. I absolutely love this thing because it has a tail-mounted, I think it's a blaster of some kind. I can't remember the exact weapon on it, but it's so funny that it's a backwards-facing weapon that is used in aerial combat.
Well, a tail gunner can be a very valuable thing if you are faster than your opponent.
Yep.
Go ahead.
But your primary weapon being the tail gunner is it's really cool because I can imagine one of these going with the Vipers. So you have two Vipers on the side, and as they're doing the attack run, this thing's flying in the middle, waiting for things to come after it and just blast it right down.
Maybe. I was going to share a brief story from there was a game that came out a while back, Crimson Skies, which was all about sky pirates. And it was pretty sweet. And
I remember that game.
It was a lot of fun. It was a fighter game. You flew your ship fighting other ships, and tail gunners were so goddamn nice because it was computer controlled, frankly. And I I could focus on what I needed to focus on, which is what I was flying towards and trying to bomb or blow up, while my tail gunner was keeping anybody from getting on my 6. So I think there's a lot of value to tail gunner. I'm just saying, in aerial combat.
We do have 2 super chats.
Ricky Chapman, 3377. Welcome, Ricky Chapman. We did a short campaign as Eldar Corsairs. It was pretty fun. We rescued some soul stones from the Emperor's children. Ooh. Aided by world eaters who we lured to the fight. Oh, that sounds awesome. What a great plan.
That is a very,
That's
very
a good
fun.
plan.
That sounds like a great story. I want to be in these campaigns.
Ricky Chapman has like some really fun RPG stories. Elemental Exposure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your support. Are there any good stories about Corsairs versus Necrons? I don't know of any.
So right now we don't know of any because we don't know the new lore for the Corsairs. But what we can say is that a battle between them would be something that's really, really fun. It's going to be a really short battle because what the Corsairs are going to be there to do is kill very important targets like monoliths and things of that nature, or destroy power stations for the Necrons. So they're going to be there to do like one specific thing, blow it away as quickly as possible, and get the hell out of there, and let the rest of the Eldar do the rest of the craft world do the war itself, because Corsairs are not meant for prolonged engagements.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you're not a Necron, space combat is a lot like the old Age of Sail. You have these big lumbering vessels that often will fire broadsides at each other or torpedoes from the front, occasionally more exotic weapons, but you're usually able to see your opponent. You're usually able to predict what your opponent's going to do. It's a known factor for anybody who's not a Necron. Now, the Aeldari have the best spaceships. They have in terms of Age of Sail, they have the finest galleons money can buy and the finest sails, and they are expert sailors. Okay. But in that analogy, Necrons are using submarines.
Yeah.
So I can understand why the Corsairs are like, you know what? I don't feel like dealing with the Necrons today. Let's just not. How about we just don't?
But we could also see the Necrons actually coming up on the Eldar themselves, and then the Corsairs being a flanking fleet to destroy like 1 or 2 ships, and that's it.
Maybe, yeah. As an old school Battlefleet Gothic player, I can tell you that Necron ships are insanely tough and insanely dangerous. And if I was an Eldar Corsair, I know my personal advice would be let's just avoid them. At all
I play
times.
a lot of Battlefleet Gothic 2, and I play against people who use the Necrons in that game. Now, bear in mind, the Necrons are not as powerful as they were on the tabletop game, where if somebody showed up with Necrons, you just wouldn't play them. The Necrons in that game are just so much fun because they teleport around. They do these blasts around them. They're so powerful, but the Aeldari could actually just turn and leave quicker than the Necrons can actually get to them. It's a lot of fun.
Ricardo Andre says, Eldari ships are just better than Necron ships. Fight me. Bro, we have had our discussions, and I would say I am firmly on the side of the Necrons are superior vessels.
All I'm hearing is blah, 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 fire the Nova cannons.
Eldar don't have Nova cannons, number one.
No, I just see 2 targets.
Right? Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, Elemental Exposure, we don't. I would love to tell you some great stories, and I think the potential is there. Like Necron tombs certainly contain a lot of booty to steal, but it's just kind of outside of the Corsair thing. Like very little of what a Corsair would want is on a Necron tomb world, aside from the prestige of it. However, here's where I think we could play on it. If the Necrons are as dangerous as we're saying that they are in space combat, then this is another one of those, like, let's go to the Crone world thrill-seeking adventures. There may have been a few Corsair princes who were bribed to go take on Necron fleets and then were never heard from again. But
They might also be the ones to raid Waking Tomb Worlds.
maybe, possibly. This is an area of the lore that hasn't been discussed too much, and it would be fun to see some of this. You know what? Let's get Hope's Games Workshop writes about it, because it would be fun to see some of this written down. Although again, this would be a fun thing for us to do with our community, is maybe build a Corsair band at some point and have them go after Necrons. Why not?
Heck yeah, let's go.
Why not? So yeah, one of the main theories about the Eldar, we talked about this before, is that the Corsairs are kind of a mirror or a viewpoint of what the ancient Eldari were like. The closest modern echo to pre-fall Eldari civilization or society. Decadent, thrill-seeking, like to fight, loosely organized into competing groups, maybe noble houses in the old empire, who knows, rather than rigid paths or cabals, which is what the Drukhari and the craft world do. And looking at it from that viewpoint, craft worlders are kind of overcorrected survivors.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Whereas the Drukhari are just crystallized. They're the just almost too far, but you know, they go as far as they can without going too far into the fall. And the Corsairs are kind of in the middle, where things would revert to if you take the brakes off, but you don't go full Cormorant, because you never go full Cormorant.
I mean, unless you want to party, you know.
But the Corsairs are also a natural home for the Ynnari. I think if Games Workshop is sidelining the Ynnari, then Corsair fleets would be the best place to kind of put them. Ynnari Corsair bands as treasure hunters and relic divers, chasing crone swords, lost technologies, legends of other pre-fall things. This would be great. That's where I see them as a thing for the future in the lore. That would be really cool, is for them to be the naval arm of the Ynnari.
Yeah, the Imperial Navy of the Ynnari. I like it.
That'd be really fun. Yeah, so Corsair crews can be a complete grab bag. Craft worlders, Drukhari, Exodites, Ynnari, who knows, maybe even retired Harlequins, or, like somebody was saying, maybe some Xeno species. Aeldari are they do tend to be kind of racist, because they're just so goddamn superior to everyone else. They believe they are.
If you said that to them, they'd be like, "We're not racist. They're just not even worth our time."
They're
It's
just,
like,
they're just
that's terrible. Don't say that. And it'd be like, "Oh, you're just overreacting." It's like talking to like an old school boomer about racism.
The Aeldari will tell you, we're just better than you. They literally will. If you want to lean into that idea, you could have individual Corsair fleets that are Drukhari trying to wean themselves off of the excess path without facing punishment from Asdrubal Vect. They could be Rangers or even Aspect Warriors who have left the craft world, or their craft world's been left behind or crashed. There's a crashed craft world in the Gilead system. There's craft worlds that have been destroyed. What happens to the Aspect Warriors who leave that craft world or are stranded somewhere, you know? Using piracy to fund their own agendas, if you will. And then you could also talk about Exodites who decided to, you know, maybe just out of wanderlust, they've explored every nook and cranny of the planet that they're on, and they're tired of it. We want to go somewhere else.
Dang, I'm so bored of this dinosaur world with all these cool dinosaurs on it. I guess I'll go be lame and be a space pirate.
Listen, if you're a big game hunter and you've hunted one of everything, maybe it's time for you to leave your planet and go check out some other places that have big game. I could see Exodites becoming Corsairs very easily.
I could too. I could definitely see it.
Almost,
especially if they convince them that there's dinosaurs on other planets.
Well, if you look at it from the Warhammer Fantasy lens, like Wolfric the Wanderer, you know, he likes to go find other big things to fight. This could be kind of that same situation.
That's very true.
So some, as we said before, some craft worlds do quietly sponsor or tolerate their own individual Corsair fleets. Some craft worlds might even intentionally nudge volatile individuals onto the path of the outcast into Corsair service, as a pressure valve, as a way to occasionally call in favors when prophecy demands it. If you are that guy on the craft world, why is that dude always getting drunk and causing trouble? Why is that guy always bugging the Farseers about, some weird dream he had? It could be that they're like, if you are the square peg in the round hole, the craft world might be like, hey, Prince Uriel, would you like to have an additional crewman? Because this guy would be great.
So one of my favorite stories involving the Corsairs is them trying to speak to an Imperial and using a Kroot as a translator. It is so funny to hear Greg try to translate Aeldari because he's just like, they agree. They don't like that. They're saying a bunch of stuff. Oh, thanks. That's great. What am I agreeing to? You're giving them something. Cool. What is it? Important. Thanks, Greg.
So what happens when Corsairs go home? Some people believe that Corsairs quietly visit their homecraft worlds through webway portals, just see their family in secret, and then slip back out, because any kind of formal homecoming would mean mind-breaking discipline or exile. And the same is true for Cormorog. If you can slip onto a craft world, you might be able to slip into the Dark City as well. And if you've got family there, or if you've got friends or lovers amongst the Drukhari, Corsairs are one of those people that, kind of like Harlequins, that can just be anywhere in Eldar society, either under the radar or full-on flashy pirate prince. I'm here. Check me out.
One of the other things that they love doing, absolutely love, is going back to certain planets and everything, checking on how much the resources that they want have flourished, and then returning back to their Corsairs and being like, okay, time to raid.
Well, one of the most popular theories about the Eldar Corsairs is that they are the reason why the Imperium thinks that the Eldar are perfidious, untrustworthy allies, because a lot of frontier worlds probably can't tell the difference between Corsairs, Craftworlders, or Drukhari. So when Eldar show up, do a hit and run raid, maybe help you out against the Tyranids, and then like steal half your people, they're like, what even is this? Like, are they with us or not? Are they friends?
Did we win? Is this a victory?
So a lot of Imperium officials probably label all Eldar as just like pirates, only worse, thanks to the Corsairs.
So I was recently reading the Rogue Trader rulebook, as one does when one gets nostalgic. And the Eldar in there are more closer to the Corsairs than they are the current Eldar. Because in Rogue Trader, Eldar are just seen as mercenaries, trade partners, and distrusted.
Well, perfidious Eldar is again, very widespread term amongst the Imperium with regards to the Eldar. And I think it's not unearned by any of the factions, but it's interesting to me that I think a lot of behavior that we would associate with the Drukhari is probably the fault of Corsairs instead. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But I do like the idea that the Corsairs being something like the older Aeldari, it works in both our setting, like us right now, and the actual lore, where they're more like the pre-fall Eldar. But in like me reading the Rogue Trader first edition book, I can see the Corsairs in there in the original Eldar paragraph blurb. Because weirdly enough, the Eldar don't have much lore in Rogue Trader. They have like one paragraph and then army units. And land raiders. They have land raiders.
You're talking
they
about
don't
the
anymore.
First edition. Talking about the not the role playing game. Talking about first edition 40K Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
So the new kill team, the Void Scarred, has created a lot of speculation because that's an interesting name, Void Scarred. And some people believe that the Void Scarred are actually there is just something about being isolated and alone in open space that can scar an Eldari's soul in some way that makes them resistant to fear or conventional lures towards madness or hyperfixation, but more vulnerable to apathy and creeping nihilism.
Eldar being nihilistic?
I mean, Uriel is a very nihilistic. He's a bleak guy. Just now, Uriel is the one that we're taking some cues from for this. So it's like looking at Captain Hook and saying, well, all pirates are obsessed with Peter Pan. So just take your giant grain of salt here. But the speculation is that Uriel is the way he is because he's been scarred by the void. He is focused on that bleak outlook as opposed to looking at things with hope. And so that cynicism and sinister behavior as a pirate is just part of what happens to Eldar when they're outside of their support structures. It's a thought. It's a weird thought, but I thought it was interesting.
Well, I mean, it does make a lot of sense since they do have things that they do have Corsairs. I forget what they're called right this second, but the Malefics that are just so scared by She Who Thirsts, by other factors, that they're now used to protect the Eldar, the Corsairs themselves. I just think that's super neat.
They're consumed by fear.
Yeah.
What are they called?
They are I want to say let me double check their name.
Okay.
So I don't get this wrong. Malevolence. Yeah, they're are members of the Corsair that have succumbed to fear or gazed upon She Who Thirst, and or other myriads of terror. And they're just so cool because I imagine them as part of the fleet that just they look that Slanesh. That's crazy to think about.
And what are they called again?
Malevolence.
How do you spell it?
Hang on, I'll just send it to you real quick. It's actually something else. My accent is preventing me from actually saying the word right now. And I can't stop my accent.
Malevolence.
Yes. Malevolence. See, my accent butchers it. You should hear me trying to speak Icelandic. It's fucking hilarious.
Malevolence. Okay.
Malevolence. There we go. Thank you, brain. I have to say that word very slowly. I don't
see those guys anywhere. I don't know what those are from. Okay, I'll have to check that out later. I don't know. All right, so we've got a super chat from Ricky Chapman, 3377. He's telling us some more stories about his RPG. Funnily enough, we got killed by that World Eater warband later in the campaign. We probably should have shared some of our tabletop role-playing game campaign stuff on the Discord. Why don't you? I mean, if your stuff inspires us, I think it would inspire other people to want to play the role-playing games for 40K. So absolutely, share it. Hawk, if you want to throw up a link to the Discord in the chat, this is also a good thing for people to know about because the Lorebeards Discord is a really fun and exciting place. It's a very active Discord. You can become part of our community, which is called the Lore Seekers. You get to vote on what our topics are going to be. And we typically share the news of any cool and exciting things for Lorebeards there. So if you want to get ahead of the curve, go join the Lorebeards Discord.
Yeah, Vorn beat you to it.
Very, very cool. So there are some, other than Prince Uriel, who we could do a whole episode about, and we probably should do a whole episode about. There are some really interesting Corsair princes, princesses, and warbands. The first I want to talk about is Ilstaneth Anturian and the Crow Spirits.
I have a sneaking suspicion you're very close to some of these characters.
Well, the Crows...
like they might have come from your own brain.
The Crow Spirits are part of the Coronis Expanse. They're part of the original Rogue Trader role-playing game, and I think they also appear in the computer game. The Crow Spirits are one of the grimmest Corsair bands. They are cold. These guys are they're not flamboyant or flashy. Ilstoneth him specifically is described as one of the deadliest and most experienced warrior of his group. He's cold, utterly ruthless, and harbors a profound loathing for all non-Aeldari. He is an Aeldari supremacist. He takes joy only in the moment of triumph over his enemies. Now, within the Crow Spirits, they call him the Bloody Hand, which is a reference to Cain, the god of war of the Eldar. Should tell you a lot right there. What's interesting about him is he wears a Harlequin hollow suit, which suggests he may have been part of a Harlequin troop before becoming a Corsair. Dun dun dun.
That's actually super neat. I really like that.
One of the books does say that he was given it by a Harlequin troop as a reward, which is still pretty cool. But the fact that he's known and trusted by the Harlequins is pretty interesting. They tend to go ahead.
If you are known by the Harlequins, there are only two things that come to my mind. One, no one is ever going to trust you ever again. And two, what did you do to earn their respect?
Well, the Crow Spirits are kind of that ghost ship aesthetic. They're Eldari Corsairs who haunt the Coronis Expanse. They prey on Imperial ships, colonies, and stations. Their vessels are described as pale, dead things with tattered, ethereal sails and are born to battle on a storm that howls with ghostly voices, emphasizing a funeral carrion bird aesthetic.
Okay, so all I'm hearing is the Dead Men's Tell No Tales song from like what was his name? Oh my god, why am I drawing a blank at names? I am so bad at names. Davy Jones, thank you. From Pirates of the Caribbean. One of the best trilogies ever. There's only a trilogy.
We were definitely channeling Pirates of the Caribbean for this. This is the Black Pearl. This is absolutely...
Yeah, it is. It 100% is.
It's 100% the Black Pearl of Eldar Corsairs. They're infamous for wanton slaughter of all non-Aeldari. Even amongst Corsairs, they have a particularly murderous reputation. They do sometimes work with the other Corsair fleets, the Eldritch Raiders, the Void Dragons, the Twilight Swords. Twilight Swords is one of the ones I came up with as well.
What?
I know. And there's a particular pirate prince called Ulthir Ilarion, who is a notorious Corsair lord active in the Calixtus sector, personally created by me, who is linked to the Crow Spirits as well, which means they have kind of a wider... What's interesting about the Crow Spirits is they work with multiple other pirate groups, other Corsair groups. They are not typically well known. Corsair groups are not typically well known to band together and work together very often. Guy Haley's novel Valador features some Drukhari ships showing up to help a Corsair fleet, which is showing up to help a craft world. But that is
extremely rare.
That is, but that's still more common than two Eldar Corsair fleets showing up to help each other. So the Crow Spirits are unique in that they have this pan Corsair connection. At least one Ordo Xenos Inquisitor is studying them, which is interesting, I think. So that's the Crow Spirits and Ilstoneth and Turian, who I think is a pretty interesting. I would like to see this guy, brought more into the lore. Not only because I created him, because the Crow Spirits are cool.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait 9 years for Eldar to get an update.
It does seem to be on that kind of cycle, doesn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
We got a super chat from Leader 2457. I think it was the Eldar Wrath and Glory book that mentions the Corsairs are the Eldar with the most contact to the Exodites because of trade, and that they see the Corsairs as most like the old Eldar. Interesting. I don't have much connection to the Wrath of Glory game outside the core rulebook, which I did design the core rules and the system and the Gilead system, which is like one of their main settings. But if this is a source book, that's really cool that they're going off of that. That's really great. Awesome. Thank you, Leader 2457. I was not aware of that. And Micah says John Heresy struck again. John Heresy is my nickname in the lore seeker community.
So it is a good nickname, though.
I wonder what they call Andy, because Andy Law has written a whole bunch of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay stuff. So whenever he talks about something he created, I'm sure they have a nickname for him. I just don't know what it is.
I wonder if they give him shit if he gets something he wrote wrong.
I almost guarantee it.
They have to, right?
Right. For sure. Okay. So other groups of Corsairs that are out there, the Eldritch Raiders, which is Prince Uriel's own fleet, the most famous and headline fleet of the Corsairs in current lore.
Isn't it also the largest fleet that is known?
They're the most well-known, so that tends to follow, but
yeah,
I don't know if they're the largest.
Excuse me.
They're linked to Iyanden, but are a largely independent pirate armada. They reinforce Iyanden in crises and otherwise continue raiding across the galaxy. The next one are the Void Dragons. I like the Void Dragons a lot. One of the most infamous Corsair cadres, currently led by Princess Sarina. Imperial estimates credit them with a fleet of over 3,500 ships.
Actually, that's not that many. Like, it sounds like a lot until you realize the galaxy is huge.
That's really big.
It is a lot.
That's super big. They're active from the Cadian Gate to the Tau Empire and the Halo Stars, which means they are crossing the galaxy. I'm curious to know, like, where. I would like to know more about them. Frankly, yes. I would like to know more.
Would you like to know more? Click intensified.
We just don't know much about the Void Dragons, but I would like to know more about the Void Dragons. There's also the Children of Thorns, which is another Corsair band in the Cronus Expanse. The Sunblitz Brotherhood, one of the original Corsair fleets mentioned in the first edition 40K. They were allied to the Void Dragons, but they ended up in a fight between them. And so the Sunblitz ships apparently fired on their fellow Corsairs, which just kind of underlines the volatility of Corsair politics.
Hundreds of years of Eldar gone in an instant.
There's just not much else to say about the Corsair stuff. Some people
will be seeing a lot more coming out very soon. I think there's a book on the way, as well as the new set coming out with a whole bunch of new lore, and I'm very excited about the new lore.
Well, we do have a novel, Path of the Outcast, which was written by Gav Thorpe. And in this book, we have a character called Aeldari. He abandons his path on craft world Alatok, which is already like connected to the Outcasts. It's the most outcast-friendly craft world. And he was frustrated with the constraints of the paths of the craft world, so he sought freedom. He sought thrills and experience. So he chooses the path of the outcast. He ends up drifting further and further away from his former life. And he's eventually drawn into the life of a star pirate. He even rises to command his own ship called the Azure Flame and becomes a pirate prince, Prince Aeldari.
That sounds like an Aragorn reference or something.
Well, Caradryan is a character from Warhammer Fantasy, so I imagine it's related to that.
Okay.
Aeldari, his arrogance, his hunger for glory, and his desire to prove himself lead him to make increasingly reckless decisions, which is a very common thing for Corsairs, both in dealings with the humans and his rivalry and wagers with other Eldar. Aeldari, kind of like the guy from the Void's Guard, he is a gambler. He likes to rely on luck, which I think is really cool.
Oh, there is a question that I want to answer really quickly. The Void Scarred book is the one I was talking about. I didn't know it was out yet. That is my oopsie daisy.
Oh, okay, when was that released? Do we know?
They said it's out. I don't know when it was released. I thought it was still coming out. That is my mistake. I didn't see it at my local store, so I didn't pick it up.
The main thing about Aeldari's time as a Corsair in this book, Path of the Outcast, is that he does all these raids. He does a lot of kidnappings. Oh, 2025, says Micah. So it was released last year. Okay. Still very, very, very new, in other words. Aeldari, because he goes around doing a lot of kidnapping and raiding and things like that, he ends up crossing paths with the Imperium and a human commander called Devok, who ends up pursuing vengeance against him. And this inadvertently creates an attack against an Imperial invasion fleet, actually, against Craftworld Alatok. I'm sure that some Farseer is sitting there on Alatok going, I knew this was going to happen. I told you. I warned you.
Looks at his friend. Told you.
Yeah.
Jagged.
So what if you're interested in learning more about the Corsairs, I would check out Path of the Outcast, because it does spend a lot of time exploring the gray areas of Eldar society, the Corsairs, the Dark Eldar, the Harlequins, neutral Eldar ports, including there's a neutral Eldar trade hub apparently in this book, which is pretty cool. I didn't know those existed. That's really cool.
I only know about those existing because I know about the Blackstone Fortress books, where there is one. I can't remember what the station is called, but there's a station next to the Blackstone Fortress where all aliens and humans are allowed to commingle. They're just not allowed to kill each other on the floor. So they can kill each other outside, but just not in the station.
So Aeldari, he spirals into self-destructive behavior, including drug-induced fugue states, does not take responsibility for his mistakes. Very Eldar behavior, I should point out. And yeah, it ends up with an Imperial invasion fleet headed for Alatok, where he has to confront exactly what he's done and the effects of his choices, the accountability. He does the FAFO and finds out. And the climax.
I just imagine that it's actually the Farseers who told him this years ago, and then to teach him a lesson, they made it happen.
Oof, no, I don't see that. They wouldn't intentionally call down an invasion fleet. I don't think.
It's the Eldar.
They might. You're right that they might, but I don't think so.
They created Gazgul. They might.
So the climax is Aeldari takes all this drastic, dangerous actions to try and save his home craft world, brings him full circle from a disaffected citizen all the way to a reckless outcast, and then finally to someone who's willing to sacrifice his life for his home. So who is truly to blame for Alatok's peril? This is answered in the final pages of the book. It gives him a somewhat surprising but thematically consistent answer that this is where fate led him. And it's
fate, name of the Farseer.
The core theme of this book is about the consequences of hubris, the limits and costs of the path system, and whether Eldar can ever truly escape their nature, even when they reject the strictures of their society. I think this is written by Gav Thorpe, who is, of course, a major Eldar creator. He wrote the 3rd edition Codex and a lot of Eldar stuff. A lot of what you know about the Eldar comes from Gav. So this is Gav, I think, pointing out that the craft worlds may be stifling, but necessary.
I always love the idea that the craft worlds are what keeps the Eldar from completely falling to debauchery, and them falling from it, becoming Corsairs, and then coming back is actually going to further boost them down the path of the path system. And even those that have fallen and go even further down, go down to Drukhari and start doing all of these horrid things, are still protecting the Eldar. So the path system is still sort of working, as weird as that is to say.
Yeah, it is. It has been said numerous times that without the paths, without some sort of channel or outlet, you end up with the what led to Slaanesh, the birth of Slaanesh, the hedonism, the self-destructive behavior. So this is just kind of an illustration of that, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Now there's a guy called Duke Sliskus.
Duke Sliskus is awesome.
Why don't you talk about him?
I just know his name because I thought of him as Duke Devlin. Somebody is going to get that reference, but I love the name. But I know the name. I know the name. Why do I know the name? He's the Sky Serpent guy.
Yes.
He's a Drukhari.
Yes.
He's part of oh my god, why am I drawing a blank on this guy? Let me just check our notes really quickly. No, he's not the one that fought the Space Wolves, right? Is he the one that fought the Space Wolves?
The Sky Serpents is his band. I wonder if I'm not sure if that's the one.
Yeah.
But he's also called the Serpent. Like they literally, like, that's one of his nicknames is the Serpent.
I remember this guy being a character somewhere in a game or something. Yeah, 5th edition Eldar.
That's right.
Yeah, he had a character in 5th edition Eldar. I think he's the cover character too. If I'm not mistaken, I think that is Alexis on the front.
He's been described as immoral, despicable, and impeccably dressed, which I love. He's stylish AF, a charismatic yet vile Corsair whose reputation shapes into whole themed armies, which is pretty neat. He's infamous for elegant, low-orbit raids against wealthy human targets. He's a legend amongst the Cormorite exiles. So if you're from Cormorog and you've left, you look up to Duke Sliskus. His first name, by the way, is awesome. It's Treveliath Sliskus, which, I mean, goddamn, Eldar names are awesome.
They really are.
I dig these names. We don't know much about him except the fact that he's on the cover. So
he's the one that fought Lucas the Trickster. That's why I remember him.
Aha. So
my God.
He's fought a Space Wolf. And you get backed up here, Mr. Mike of the Grail. He, in all caps, he is the one who fought the wolves.
Yeah, he's the one that ripped out the dude's heart, and then the heart was replaced with a bomb.
Oh, we have a comment here. God. From Leader 2457. Another fun thing in the Void Guard is that the Corsairs have special devices for Dark Eldar to interact with psychic technologies, with some implication that Dark Eldar can regain their psychic ability. Interesting. Their psychic sensitivity, I'm assuming, is what you mean. Yeah, that's interesting.
Also, one person got the Yu-Gi-Oh reference I was making.
In the book Valador, which I'm reading right now, which is focused around Prince Uriel, they talk about how the Spear of Twilight, which is this cursed weapon that Uriel wields, has enhanced his psychic sensitivity to what he describes as a pre-fall level, where he can read other people's surface thoughts and emotions just by looking at them, which is apparently something you could do in the pre-fall Eldari Empire, which goes a long way to kind of explain how things got out of hand. Because if you could tell that somebody likes this thing, even if they, or even especially because they're ashamed of it or because it's naughty, yeah, I could see that going into certain directions. Imagine everyone's OnlyFans list on their face at all times. Like, wow, that would create some interesting discussions.
From what I understand about the Eldar themselves is the Eldari are all inherently psychic in nature. And most of the time, because I was reading Path of the Exile, and in that book, the Pathfinders, the Rangers, could talk to each other just by looking.
Yes. They mentioned this in Valador as well, that most Eldari communication tech is psychic, but with the presence of the Tyranids, which is a big thing in Valador, they have to use radios instead, and they really hate it because it's like using crude human communication. We have to speak with our mouths. Yes, Micah says he knows your browsing history. That's what I imagine the pre-fall civilization to be, is that everyone's browser history was just something you could detect. Yeah.
Your browsing history is not as long as mine, you loser.
I mean, it would create competition. It would create an expectation for people to be wilder and more exotic, kind of like early reality TV. If you in the 90s, remember how people just kept getting, because that's what got eyes on your program.
Or the prank YouTubers of early 2000s,
Jackass, etc.
Yeah,
that'd be wild. Okay, so some of the more stranger fan theories.
Oh, I do love me some fan theories.
Some people believe that the Void Scarred are Aeldari whose souls have partially slipped into the normal have slipped a little bit and become void ghosts, like half in their bodies and half in the warp, which is why they're so unnaturally lucky and hard to pin down, but doomed to burn out early. Even wilder, some Corsair fleets they believe, are crewed by reincarnations of a single ancient warband, fated to find each other lifetime after lifetime and keep raiding the same trade routes across millennia.
That is poetic, though. I really like that kind of stuff. Like, I love the whole idea of you can never, because it works with Eldar, you can never escape your fate. And a lot of Eldari stuff is based on, like, it's not entirely based on it, but a lot of old Japanese poems and Chinese poems work really well with the Eldar because you're doomed to repeat, you're doomed to failure, you're doomed to servitude and things of that nature. Like the whole path system being the path of the Bushido, them having ninjas and everything, you could definitely feel like a Japanese and Chinese influence on them. And I just wish GW would cave into that more. Like, I would love for them to have more poetry written by the Eldar. Like, I think if you're writing the Eldari's thoughts down, I think it should be written as form of haiku and things of that nature, like poetry writing is what I mean.
Well, one of my favorite headcanons or fan theories is that the Corsairs, over a long enough timeline, have effectively turned the path of the outcast into its own actual path. They develop disciplines and rituals and things that are based around the pirate way. That Corsair, it's become a Corsairism. It's become a rigid thing of its own, which is exactly what it was trying to avoid. but they've fallen too far into the hype, into the tropes of piracy to pull out of it, which I think that's really interesting.
So that begs the question: is Prince Uriel their exarch or autarch?
I mean, I would nominate him as autarch for sure,
right? Because like if we're gonna say the autarch of the Farseer path is Eldred,
yeah,
then it would only make sense that it's Prince Uriel.
Exarch, you mean? But yeah,
Exarch, yes, Exarch.
Exarch would be he would be a good Exarch for the pirate way. Some people even think that Corsair armadas, like fleets, kind of become like a mobile mini craft world where you have shrines and maybe even a pocket infinity circuit. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could relate to.
I do mean a Phoenix Lord. The leaders of them. Yeah.
Well, Eldrad we did talk about as being a possible Phoenix Lord for sure.
Yes. So Prince Uriel would be
Prince Uriel would be the Phoenix Lord of the
Corsairs.
Correct. Another wild theory says that the Corsairs, because they are connected to every Eldari group and because the Harlequins tend to meddle everywhere but are generally not seen amongst the Corsairs, some people think that they may be like the hidden mask of Segarak, that it is literally they are the space version of Harlequins, and that the Harlequins are treating the Corsairs as a very long, very bloody performance in space.
I mean, that also falls into the whole they're a doomed trope, and I love it.
I don't know about a lost mask of Segarak, but I do like the idea that the Harlequins could look at them as they are a form of a mask, if you will. I think that's kind of neat. Certainly that would be worth a story in and of itself. Godzilla Rex.
Interesting question.
Could the pirates create an infinity spirit? Infinities, I think you mean infinity circuit. They could. You could argue that they could jury rig one up between enough ships, but I think what people were talking about with that is the idea that a ship is made out of wraithbone and can contain spirits because it can. They're in fact entire ghost ships that are piloted by the spirits of the dead.
Yeah.
So a Aeldari spaceship is like a mini craft world in that it can be an infinity circuit. It's just a really, really small one. And if you had enough ships close to each other, close enough to each other to share that psychic connection, I think you might be able to replicate it to a degree. I don't know how much of a degree. Like I just don't know how close it could get, but it's certainly a Timu or Wish version of an Infinity Circuit at best, I think.
I like the idea that if their ships are psychically linked, there is the potential for it to happen.
Micah asks, do they have avatars of Cain? No, they don't. Only the craft worlds do.
Now, funny enough, they might be hired to actually protect the sacrifice for Cain and fly them to the craft world to make an avatar of Cain. That is something they can be hired to do.
Right, but the avatar himself sits at the heart of every craft world.
Yep.
So that is not something that they have on board ships. Some people look at the Corsairs as a liminal space. They operate on such of the fringes of Eldar society that they are literally the bridge between what is Eldar and what is not. And that may mean that Corsairs could have truly mixed crews, including human voidsmen, slith, crew trackers, essentially the Eldari version of a rogue trader.
That I love. Because, like, it fits so beautifully into 40K's lore to have these horrific, monstrous, but also not entirely fully evil. Like, they are evil in the setting, but they're not, Slaanesh demons evil. I will always put Slaanesh demon evil at the top of my list. Out of all the evil in the universe, Slaanesh demon evil is the highest.
I'm not going to comment on that, but I will say that if you want to reverse the dynamic of a typical rogue trader or even inquisitor, with the Xenos being the one in charge and having the human be the exotic one, would be really interesting and fun, especially a Corsair prince who has an inquisitor as part of his retinue would be hilarious.
That would be really good. You could have such a unique fleet too. Like, you could have Kroot war spheres in there. You could have like Demiurge battleships. I still have to check the name of their actual ship. I still haven't checked.
Yeah. I think one of the strangest theories is the idea that the Corsairs are Iniad's test cases. That Iniad is quietly experimenting on Corsair souls first, because they die so far from the Infinity Circuit and so far from Waystones and Spirit Stones. So these Corsair fleets are kind of unknowing test beds for the God of the Dead. And if you look at it that way, the Corsair flags and hull glyphs could hide tiny sigils of Ynnari. And some Void Scar might not just be scarred by the Void, but maybe they're a failed attempt at a Ynnari-style rebirth. That's weird. It's strange, but it does make you go, huh? Which I kind of like.
Does.
I like those. I like those theories.
I'm trying to figure out what this.
Now, to go a little further down the pirate hole, if you will, there's a meme that the Corsairs are basically cults of fashion. Their hair color, the cut of their cloak, their mask that they wear,
the cut of their jib.
I mean, these all might be a form of like a cult or a micro faction, like a duelist cult or a gunslinger clique or an order of the eye patch kind of thing, which makes some sense. Like, if you are going to micro focus as an Eldari, maybe being a pirate, you'll do it because you really like fashion and you really want to look just Riz as hell. Like this is the Lando Calrissian version of an Eldari Corsair. Perhaps their colors and trophies are even more like ritual armor tied to luck. Like if I wear my red cape, I am protected from She Who Thirsts, because I'm always lucky with my red cape. They might even have idea. They might have elaborate taboos about changing certain details lest the Void turn against you, because gamblers are suspicious or superstitious, I should say. And Corsairs are the ultimate gambler expression of Eldari culture.
One of the things that I really like is the enemy can't see me if I'm wearing my red no, the enemy can't see that I'm wounded if I'm wearing my red shirt. There's Tyranids on the horizon. Fetch me my brown trousers.
Exactly. Micah says you got to look fly to fly. I can't agree more.
Very true. Also, the Corsairs, out of all of the Eldar, have the best fashion sense out of all of them. They look the coolest. They have like giant poofy capes. They wear capes, which is awesome. At Eldar, everything looks cooler in a cape. I know a cape is completely impractical, and is very hard to fight in because I fight in a cape on occasion. Well, it's not a cape. It's what is it? What is it called? It has a hood and everything. My brain is just not working today.
Biofoot has a question for us. He says, "Where's the lesbian space pirates?"
There's probably quite a few.
I mean, I can't certainly. Why not? Like, hell yeah! We have a pirate princess who leads the Void Dragons, so why not? Yeah, absolutely. I could see that.
So, what I really want to see is the story between Prince Uriel and Horan Blackheart.
Well, that's coming up. That's the next thing, isn't it?
Yes, but what are your thoughts on it, real quick? Like, we know the size of Horan Blackheart's fleet; it's massive. We know that it's not going to be all of his ships. Obviously, he cannot get all of them to muster together and fight one thing. We know how Chaos Warbands operate, where thousands of different warbands all take the same name and they operate sometimes together.
Well, that's the thing, is that Huron may have a bigger fleet, and he may have tougher individual troops. Those are all true. But Huron is only in command just by the skin of his teeth. He is clinging to command.
He does not have a lot of skin left around his teeth.
Right. And he's got a lot of rivals. Whereas Uriel is like uniformly respected by Corsairs. Like there is not a single Corsair is going to be like, I don't think you're doing it right, Uriel. So you're going to have a very individualistic force versus a very unified force. And the unified force is faster and more maneuverable. That is usually, in terms of naval conflicts, that means that the faster, more maneuverable and unified force is going to win.
That I fully agree with. Do you think GW is going to remember that space battles exist?
No, I think they're going to largely focus on the individual. They're going to focus on events you can replicate on the tabletop. That's what they're going to focus on. Which, I mean, that's fair. That's their core business.
Yep. And we do know that because it's 10th edition, they're going to focus on the very specific battles instead of the actual grand theater of war, which I really like, because I like Epic is the grand theater, and then Battlefleet Gothic is the even grander theater of war. Horan Blackheart versus Prince Uriel. If we were to go by raw numbers, I do think that Horan Blackheart would win, and it wouldn't be too hard for him. But the problem is Prince Uriel has, so both of them have a way of seeing the future on their side. Prince Uriel's is way more reliable, and I will definitely say that, because Eldar Future Sight is a little bit better than a demon human possible future sight. So out of the two, I don't want to see the two. I do want to see the two fight, because duh. But also we have Horan Blackheart's crazy weaponry versus Prince Uriel's incredible psychic spear.
Well, it's a sword now. In the lore, it was transformed into a sword by Vrain. It's one of the Crone swords.
Oh yeah, it is. So now it's an incredible psychic blade.
Well, Huron is a extremely gifted strategist and tactician. We talked about this in his episode. We covered Huron Blackheart. Uriel is known to be good, but I don't know if he's on the same level as Huron. Huron is probably, like I said, I think Uriel wins the space battle. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
If there's a battle in space, I think Uriel wins it.
Unless the Blackstone Fortress is involved.
Maybe, but where I was going with that thought is that I think Huron will win any extended conflict on the ground.
I would agree with that one, because Huron can also just call in demon allies.
Well, he doesn't like to. It's
No, but the
he
possibility is there.
That's last resort. That's if
Yeah.
he's losing. So yeah, maybe. We got a couple of super chats we need to read here.
Oh yeah.
Ricardo Andre, thank you very much, Ricardo Andre. I appreciate you, buddy, even though we disagree on a lot of things. Small scale leaders until the big princes get up from their throne, and then you get fleets of 2,000 plus ships gunning on you, led by Corsair royalty. There can be some very big fleets of Corsairs. You're right about that. I'm not sure. Please expand on this if there was a point that I'm missing, but I think I feel like you're just saying they can have really, really big fleets too, which I would agree with.
Yeah, so would I.
And then Watchdog 3079, thank you very much, sir. What are your thoughts on Huron's personal circle that were from other chapters from the Battle War and Army that are not specifically Chaos but Renegade? We did a whole episode on Huron. If you want to go check out our thoughts on him, definitely check that out. But the short version is that Huron is happy to, bring on people from the Battle War because they share his independent streak. They share his very pragmatic outlook, and they share his absolute disdain for the betrayal of the Imperium, because the Imperium betrayed him. He didn't betray the Imperium.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you want to talk about a Chaos Lord that has some really damn good reasons to go Renegade, it was Huron. So yeah, I think my thoughts are that his personal circle are probably part of. So when he was in the Astral Claws, Huron had a cult of personality that actually caused some concern amongst the upper leadership of his chapter. When he was named to chapter master, that those differences went away, because then the entire chapter became his cult of personality, with the exception of whoever was, serving in the Death Watch or other far-flung detachments, if you will. But by and large, yeah, the Astral Claws were very much a cult of personality. So I can certainly see the other groups that were involved, the Mantis Warriors and things like that, the Lamenters. They might have people that were like, yeah, hell yeah, Huron overall, because Huron took care of us and he got stabbed in the back. And Huron, to be fair, he made a damn good try of being of cleansing the Maelstrom for the Imperium before they screwed him over. He worked real hard at it. So
he almost rebuilt it. Like, he was close, and then they took away another chapter, and he was like,
yeah,
damn it.
Yeah, they screwed.
There is a comment where two people are talking to each other about this, but I did want to bring this one up because I like this. Abaddon has little reason to help Huron. This is very true, except for one thing. Abaddon will come back for that Blackstone Fortress. And he will come back to take everything from Huron Blackheart.
Abaddon would be opportunistic along those lines, because Huron leads the second largest chaos group in the galaxy. So yeah, there's some of that. I think that's fair.
It's not that he's helping, it's that he will let Huron die.
He's waiting,
and then come in and be like, oh, now you're all Black Legion. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, he's waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
So I got a couple other fan theories I think are really interesting.
All
one
right,
of my for the Corsairs, one of my favorites is that the Corsairs. So the way the Eldar read the future is they call it the skein, which is like the skeins of fate. So they see the future through threads. They use a sort of a weaving metaphor for it. Okay. And you could, one of the fan theories that I like is that the Corsairs are so extra. They are so out there and flamboyant and inspiring fear in the Imperium, or raiding, or doing these big risks, a big risk, big reward kind of material. They're doing all this to be a beacon in the skein, to allow the Farseers to track them more easily, or even subtly strengthen their luck, because their Void Dreamers can then use that same like standing out against the background of the skein to give them a better way forward. I kind of love that idea.
I do really like that because then it plays into the more of how they use soul stones to actually heal others as well. So they know when they need people to die to power that, to give it to them in the future. So it all just like interconnects between the Farseers seeing the future and the other one seeing the near future.
This could also play into how they tend to exaggerate their own legends, or how they want to build a legend, so that if you're the ghost story that Imperial Navy guys talk about in the mess when they're having their dinner, that may mean that you are a brighter thread in the skein, which I think is really interesting and fun.
Also, that might actually affect, like, hey, maybe if you're this scary, this particular Navy ship won't come near our craft world in 100 years.
Yeah, precisely.
Because that's the way that Eldar operate. They operate on the hundreds to thousands of years of like seeing the future. They don't just go, "Oh, dang it, I'm gonna fall down tomorrow. That sucks."
The last fan theory that I think is really interesting is that the Corsairs are they could be, and in fact, some princes might see themselves as a way to rehabilitate broken Aeldari. The Jakari who won out, the craft worlders who cracked under the pressure of the paths, failed exarchs. One last chance is to go join the pirates.
I love that, honestly.
It's One Piece, but in space.
Except you're not fighting against tyrants. You're just fighting against everyone.
Well, if you're fighting the Imperium, you're fighting against tyrants. So
that is true. That is very true.
I would totally do One Piece in space against the Imperium. I'll tell you what. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun. But it's so if you are from Cormorag, you might see the Corsairs as very strict. Like, oh, we can't do torture. We have to negotiate ransoms instead of just raid for slaves.
Dang it.
But that is a way to get off of the path of damnation. That is a way to use the pirate codes as a way to keep everyone more disciplined, to bring them back towards the center. I think that's pretty fascinating. And I really like the idea of it's being a place where the broken Eldari go. I don't know. I just really dig it. So
I like it. I like that a lot.
Micah says, I can't skin people alive. Darn.
Dang it.
What?
My favorite hobby.
Ricardo Andre, sorry for the delayed elaboration, was playing Gothic 2. Hey, he also likes Gothic 2. Corsair fleet hierarchy is princes spread out over the galaxy under the leadership of Corsair royalty. Gather up all the ships and you get massive fleets. Yes. Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That there are
gathering all those ships.
So that is something we have not seen in the lore, is like a pirate lord or pirate king saying, everybody to me, and forming some massive fleet. The closest we get is Uriel going to save Iandin with his ships, which is a sizable force. But I would love to see something on that scale. That would be like we did an episode recently on how the legions could reunite. So there is that idea in my head of like, let's get the band back together, bring everybody into one, massive force. So
like we know that there are giant Aeldari space gate. What is it? It's the Webway portal, but it's a gigantic one in space. That they fly their ships through to teleport them across the galaxy. I'm wondering how many ships they could put into that thing, because sometimes they actually describe the Webway as crowded. Because they are just a series of tubes, and I always thought the Webway was just a joke on the internet.
Well, some of the tubes are just big enough for people, some are big enough for tanks, some are big enough for entire ships, and some, only a few, are big enough for fleets to traverse.
Yeah. So it's very
based on plot and the writer a lot of times.
Yes. I always thought of it as those ships from Dune, that the gigantic ones that you put your fleet inside, and like even your enemy fleet is inside it at the same time. You can't fight, and then they shoot you across the galaxy.
We got a super chat from Vire7. Hey, brand new. Thank you. Appreciate your support. I just wanted to say Iron Hands because I like Iron Hands. Iron Hands are the best. They only get few lore stuff because I can't read. Iron Hands, Iron Hands, Iron Hands. Well, what's your favorite chapter, Vire7? That is literally awesome. I love
Iron
that.
Hands have one of the coolest power weapons in the entire setting in 10th edition.
What is it?
The Powered Kanabo. The Shield Destroyer.
Kanabo. I'm not sure what that means.
It's a Japanese weapon that is a stick.
You mean a Tetsubo?
With a whole bunch of metal notches in it that's designed to smash shields.
You mean a Tetsubo?
No, the Kanabo. Hang on, I'll try to grab a picture of it.
Okay. Because it sounds a lot like a Tetsubo. Just saying.
I mean, they might have a very similar weapon. A lot of weapons share names.
Ricardo Andre points out that the Thramas Crusade pitted 1,700 ships split between both loyalists and traders. That was a big fleet action. Okay, I see now. Yeah, Kanabo. Okay, that's really
good
cool.
old Kanabos. I love obscure weapons.
So this is Hawk says Kanabo is a one-handed Tetsubo. Aha, that's where I was missing it. Okay. Well, I would like to show off, since we're talking about spaceships and nautical stuff, I would like to show off a little bit of cosplay, if I might.
Yeah, do it up.
So a very good friend of mine, Jen, from a company called Geek Forge. We have a link for that. And Hawk, can you put that link up in the chat for people? Because I would really like to promote her stuff. She's really, really good. And she made me a Rogue Trader coat, which is very Imperial Navy themed. I'm going to show some pictures of it here.
Oh, heck yeah.
Look at that. Look at that beautiful coat.
Quick, everyone, snap pictures of his feet.
I am barefoot in the image, yeah. All of the medals and the big golden skulls, those are attached with magnets underneath the fabric. So it can be detached easily and stored safely when you're not wearing it. That's what the back looks like. That big
back is incredible.
I know, right? Look at that skull is also magnetic, that golden skull there. And yeah, that's the front. It's double-breasted. I'm just in love with it. I can't wait to wear it to a convention and cosplay Admiral Spire. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
God, fuck it. I any moment I get to praise Admiral Spire is a good moment.
So I don't want to leave that up too long, but that is my cosplay that I'm so proud of. Geek Forge, which the link is now in the chat. Thank you, Hawk. If you want to check it out, Jen is excellent, and she makes some really, really kick-ass costumes. She wants to do more 40K. So
heck yeah.
if you're interested, go contact Geek Forge. Now, with that out of the way, I believe we have some miniatures to review this week.
Well, before we do that, because I like saving the miniatures for like the very end, does the chat have any questions about the topic today?
Oh, yes. Oh, we got some comments about Ross is working that drip. Thank you, Mr. Mike of the Grail. Micah says the Emperor approves of the coat and Slanesh approves of the feet. Yes, you can get money for those pictures of my feet, I'm sure. Hawk says you can definitely get money for pictures. Oh my God. Thank you. And my favorite is this one from the cap with the outfit. It's hilarious. I agree. You know, I wore it. Got some pictures right before the show today because I was like, I want to show off the coat, but I don't want to sit down and show off the coat. I want to show the whole thing. So I got my dad to take pictures of me for the thing. So here's a question from Ricardo Andre. Have you addressed the fact that no two princes have the same title, even if we mortals call them all princes? I mean, the limitations of language. Eldari, of course, probably have so many different nuances for exactly what their title is. The only word we have for it in our crude Mon-Ki language is prince or princess.
Yeah.
I think you're just about right. Did you check my Void Dragon number estimate according to the Lex? Double the Thramas Crusade numbers. Yeah, that's what I was saying, is that they have 3,500 ships. I mentioned that earlier in the show. So the Void Dragons have a massive fleet, according to lore, but we just don't know much about the Void Dragons. We don't know much about them. And to be fair, the Eldar also use a lot of technology that is based on fooling sensors and fooling senses, like the hollow fields that the Harlequins have, or hollow.
Yeah.
In fact, the main defense of Eldar ships is a hollow field that projects them as being where they are not. Yep. So it's possible that estimate is very, very
way
high,
off or way high.
Yeah, this could be a ploy of those perfidious Eldar, but it could also be that they just have a giant damn fleet of Corsair ships flying around across the entire galaxy, and we need to know more about that. I said this much. I want to know more about the Void Dragons. They're really cool, and that's a giant fleet, bro. I would love.
One of the other things when it comes to the Corsairs is one of their favorite hiding spots is in an asteroid field where they can't be detected, because all Oz are going to detect is rocks, and they're going to be avoiding them. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of Corsairs are going to come out of half blown up asteroids after them. And then those asteroids are going to start attacking because they're orcs.
Yes, Aeldari ships are generally fragile compared to other species vessels. They're not as tough because they're made out of wraithbone, and wraithbone is brittle. So Aeldari tend to try to avoid getting hit as their main defense.
One of my favorite things to do is shoot a Nova Cannon just past them and fire a torpedo so they have to rush into it and just blow them up. Oh, there is a certain sense of satisfaction when that happens.
Only if the solar wind is not blowing in the right direction is the problem there. If the solar wind's blowing in the right direction, they can be like, whatever, whoop, and we're out. Godzilla Rex 100 asks, who is your favorite Corsairs fleet?
The Void Dragons.
I'm going to say Crow Spirits because I created them.
I'm going to say Void Dragons because I love the idea that they named their fleet after their rival's dead god.
Yeah.
That's pretty metal.
I agree. Professor Shap says, Eldar, we will pretend to be asteroids. Orcs, we will be the asteroids.
Still one of my favorite orc quotes ever. Hands down, one of my favorites is, the pointy ears did the classic blunder, jumping out before we could find them.
Micah points out, he says, I mean, what do you guys want to see out of the Corsairs? Do you want to see them become more and more relevant? Perhaps one day get their own codex like the Harlequins used to? Yes.
Sort of. So the reason that I say sort of is from a gameplay standpoint. Right now, we are currently balancing 27 different armies in Warhammer 40k. And weirdly enough, it is some of the most balanced we've ever seen. I think Custodes are going a bit above and beyond, and Thousand Suns need to be reined back in a little bit. But aside from that, I do want to see them get some of their own unique stuff. But I would like it if they had a detachment of their own that took Eldar units as well. That way they could be the mainstay of the army itself and not just them in the Eldar book where you just take the ones that are good and then you just leave out all the rest. Like, unfortunately, I don't see anybody ever playing the new jet vehicle, the something Fang. I can't remember, Starfang or something like that. I can't see anybody actually taking that unit because it's not good compared to the cheaper point infantry units that you're going to be taken. But if you did an entire detachment that was strictly focused on them and it allowed them to take a very few Eldari units, you might actually see them being played, and that would be really cool. So from a gameplay perspective, yes, I think I want to see more of everything because I'm also greedy and want to paint everything. And I'm a goblin when it comes to collecting miniatures.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm far more interested in the lore and the story and the characters than tabletop presence, but it does tend to follow in Games Workshop that if you have a lot of lore, you often get a miniature or you get a faction. Micah points out that the Aeldari failed to become their own faction and are just now sort of a meta group.
No, GW was too scared of them. The Yunari arrived right as the two regimes were changing, and they didn't get a proper army list. They got an insanely broken army that made GW roll back everything they were going to do for them. Also, the Aeldari revamp got pushed back because of COVID. So,
well, COVID can screw up a lot of plans. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think the Corsairs would be great as a faction in Battlefield Gothic, as a lore faction. Like I would love to see them have rules for other games, maybe not necessarily like we have a Void Scarred Kill Team, and that's great. We have, Corsair fleets in Battlefield Gothic. That's also great. Maybe their own video game is maybe the place I would take that, or something along those lines, like an expansion for Rogue Trader or Dark Heresy where you play as a Corsair fleet. That would be really fun. That would be a lot of fun. We got a super chat from Hana1439. Thank you very much. We need to bring back Battlefleet Gothic with Corsair fleets.
Oh
Hell yes.
Yes. With Star Wars Armada being dead, there is currently no large ship game. And I'm not talking about miniature ships. X-Wing is X-Wing is dead, unfortunately, because of the whole changes. That's a whole different story. But anyway, there's no spaceship game that is popular right now, and Battlefield Gothic could be that system, but I don't want ships this big, this dumb. My Grand Cruiser shouldn't be this big. I want my Grand Cruiser this big. I want to play on a 6x4. Well, maybe not that big. The current size for a GW mat, which is 60 by 44. I want to play on that Starfield and have fun with big ships.
So Mike is saying, he says, do you want them to become more and more relevant? Do you want them to see them do in the lore? I would love to see a book. Certainly. I'd love to see a video game. I'd love to see more focus on other Corsair groups than just Uriels. Like, I'd like to see someone try and do like a Corsair princess would be amazing. I'd love to see a female Corsair prince would be amazing. I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see more classes of ships be discussed. There hasn't been any new Eldar ships in a very long time, and I think it'd be a lot of fun if you focused on the Corsairs and talk about like how they customize their vessels, maybe with Imperium tech or Xeno or other Xenos technology built in or wired in somehow, or like we were saying, maybe they have a crew that includes some very unusual people like Inquisitors. I'd love to see a reverse Rogue Trader with a Corsair prince and an Inquisitor, a part of his retinue, off doing fun stuff on the rim of the galaxy. They don't need the Astronomicon. They've got the Webway. And involve if this could be involved with like the Black Library and Ephrael Stern and the Rododendra and maybe Eldrad Ulthrad, like you could bring a lot of threads together that a Corsair princess could go investigate or be a part of, because their fleet can cross the galaxy using the Webway fairly quickly.
And please give us like 2, maybe 3 chapters. We're not asking for a lot of space battles.
Right. Like some
please.
Actual space battles would be a lot of fun.
Don't just be like the ship showed up and then they were not relevant to the story.
Which happens a lot in 40K because
oh my god,
most of the action takes place in the
what was it? The Nachman Gauntlet? The ship showed up. Planet Killer showed up. Spire showed up. That was it. That's all we got.
Yeah, Ricardo Andre points out, this is with the Imperium Nihilus and the Great Rift, it's a perfect place for Trader Legions, Corsairs, Drukhari, even Asuryani to set up empires of their own for their own desires. You could have a Border Princes type environment. That would be
cool.
That would be sweet. I would actually, yeah, okay. So imagine an empire building series or of books, maybe, or webcomic, I don't know, featuring an Asuryani linked Corsair fleet that is going to conquer a region and say, this is ours. We're taking it. We're going to protect it from chaos, but we're taking it.
Do you know who I want the enemy to be in that book? The Tau.
Yeah.
Because the Eldar and Tau have no books where they fight each other.
That'd be fun. Again, I was told a long time ago, I was told that was because the Eldar had actually uplifted the Tau as a buffer against the Tyranids. So Ricardo Andre says, wait, in Nachman, Spire showed up? Is Spire finally canon? I believe he is.
Spire did not show up by name, mind you, but a legendary admiral who has fought Planet Killer before did. And they're not talking about the Rogue Trader. They're not talking about the Space Marine Grey Knight character. They are both gone and dead at this point. But Spire shows up.
Leader 2457 points out that the Void Scarred book has a lot of what you're looking for, Alexis.
Well, I just got to read more books. If only we had a Lorebeard series about reading books.
Which we do. We have a Lorebeards book club. So go bother Vera and Lindsay and see if they want to talk about the Void Scarred book, because I bet they'd be into it. Is the Void Scarred book, is that a novel or is that a campaign book? Because if it's not a novel, they may not want to cover it.
I think it is a novel. Kovu is scratching at the door, trying to get out. Oh, did he get it? He's trying. He's trying to open the door.
So, is now a good time to look at those?
Now is the perfect time. We have this. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, Hawk says politely bother Vera and Lindsay. Yes, please do not be impolite to those two ladies. They're very awesome people and they deserve your respect. Oh, look at that. That is an Imperial Knight. That is that's an Imperial Knight. Yeah, I don't see any chaos markings on that. It is
an Imperial Knight.
It's red and bronze, which made me double check. I was like, is that chaos? No.
Yeah, it's always whenever you see these colors, you have to do the second guess.
It's got purity seals. It can't be chaos.
Yeah, exactly. Chaos does not have purity seals, except for world eaters, word bearers. So
you're having so much trouble with names today.
I don't know what it is. I am just like all over the place with names and forgetting things. Like my brain is so messed up today, and I slept well. I think that's the reason. I actually had a good night of sleep.
Do you smell toast? Are you having a stroke?
Well, I mean, probably.
This is a very well painted Imperial Knight. I love the red and gold or red and bronze. It just looks excellent.
This looks like it's non-metallic metal, or at least an attempt at it.
It's good.
I really like this. This is done by Ashkol, and yeah.
Wow, the back. Yeah, that's a good looking back.
Yeah, look at that. Ooh, good looking booty. Anyway.
Oh, I really like my God, Alexis. Look at that knight.
I like big knights, and I cannot lie.
It's just so big.
You Battle Brothers can't deny.
It looks like one of those tournament winners models. That's a very nice model. My only concern is the base. Do something with the base. Yeah, it looks great.
Also, I will give them props for using the thermal cannon. It is one of the weapons that I absolutely love on a knight, but a lot of people do not run the thermal cannon. I love the thermal cannon. I think it's amazing and great and fantastic and should be used more, and it's way better than the rapid fire battle cannon. I don't care what anybody says. I will fight them on it. I love the thermal cannon. This is great.
I think the math favors the double cannon.
It 100% does. So next up, we have some Rogue Trader Marines.
Wow, that's got to be
Nestor.
Party. It's got to be third party, right? That's got to be a print, right?
So I'm not sure. They didn't leave any information about this. And this does look third party. If not, it looks very, very customized.
It looks very first edition Warhammer. I agree. It's awesome in the fact that it looks super old school. I love the fact that the guy's got a cigar, and they have the bumps on their shoulder pads, which I know you'll appreciate.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love me some bumpy shoulder pads. Good old pleasure bumps.
And they got the beaky helmet. Yeah, this is also very well painted. Bases look great. Barrels have a black dot or are drilled out, so I have nothing to complain about on this. This looks great.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. I saw this and I was just like, I really like these.
This is what you call old school cool right here.
Yep. And then let's peer over at Kova really quickly because he's standing up over there.
Oh, look at him. He's all standing up and stuff. What is this model from?
So this is by Roth. This is for Lore Stream. I'm using it as a champion of the Crown Mini as a free guild marshal for Cities of Sigmar.
Huh. Is this from Confrontation?
I'm not sure. It kind of looks 3D printed because if we look, we can see the print lines.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, on a model this small, this looks like a 32 millimeter base or a 25 millimeter base. Printing something this small, you can't avoid the lines, unfortunately. So
first of all, this looks like this reminds me of Werewolf the first Werewolf RPG.
Okay.
And they have their Krenos form, which is the full werewolf, and they have claves, which are these special silver blades. Werewolf the Apocalypse is what it's called. And yeah, that looks very Werewolf the Apocalypse to me, which I really dig. But I think it may be originally for something like Confrontation, which did have big wolfmen in it as well. But I don't know. It's fine. It looks great. I love it. Free guilds can basically just have anything, can't they? So, I mean, it seems reasonable to me. I'm not an Age of Sigmar expert by any means, though.
I know little to nothing about Age of Sigmar. I will admit that.
Is this a work in progress? It looks like it's not done.
It doesn't say it's a work in progress, but I'm going to assume so.
All right. So great start. I'll say that. Great start. Definitely needs a little more work on the arm bindings.
Yeah.
But you can see that he's got a very good start laid out for what he wants it to look like. Gray and white fur, metal armor, silver blade. You're off to a good start. And if this is your first model, or if you're like a young person, like you haven't painted a lot before, I would say very good start.
And then we got the back. The shield looks pretty good.
Shield does look good.
I like that. So yeah, that is by Roth. And the next is just a Charnable Saber.
Nice.
And I love this.
Nice.
We don't get to see the rest of the mini, which is fine. Holy cat hair. Kovu, what the heck? I just moved my hand and saw a wall of cat hair. I gotta brush him down a bit.
Charnable sabers are a really cool thing from the Heresy era. They're basically like super folded katanas. They're just a really, really well forged regular blade, used often for dueling, and they're given out as awards to very worthy commanders and leaders. So this is it matches kind of what I was thinking in my head with the multi-folded appearance on the blade. So I really appreciate that.
This one is done by Nestor.
Hey, Nestor Vitubra.
Yep.
Super cool.
Don't you bite my hand.
Do you have anything to add to this? I think that just looks really great.
It's honestly like no, not really. It is amazing. It is very well done.
So just there is a teeny little thing that could elevate it. And I want to get Alexis's opinion on this because this is definitely old school painting, and you're far more up to date on this stuff than I am. But in the olden days, what you would do is you would take just a tiny little bit of silver and do the very extreme outer edge of the blade just to kind of give it that little razor edge sheen. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I would do hang on. He's going a little crazy because I riled him up. Anyway, I would do it on the center where the blade has a fold in it. And then do it on the edges as well. So I can actually demonstrate where that fold actually is because I conveniently have my sword in arm's reach.
Hey, check that out.
So
It's glowing
you can
blue. Orcs are nearby.
that makes sense. So if you look at a regular sword, here, let me go ahead and remove this really quickly so I can show you.
Are you talking about the
So
tang?
regular swords have all of these scratches and everything in it, and you could see these two lines where it folds running down. If that was done on this, it would look amazing.
Yeah, it's that one little bit right in the middle there of the blade part.
Yep. I
Very
also
cool.
recently had to get my sword fixed.
Now, I want to be clear. We're talking about a fairly advanced technique, and that's only try it if you really, really want to bring this. If you were doing this for like a competition or something, I would suggest that. If this is just for tabletop use, that looks fantastic.
This looks way better than like tabletop standard. This looks incredible.
So if it depends on what you want to do with it, that's all I'm saying.
So next up, we got a bunch of Nurgle stuff.
Hey,
this is done by Ducky 9090.
Is that
or 9090?
Is that an official model?
So technically, yes, the best kind of yes. So we have leftover bits from a whole bunch of different kits, including all of the skulls and everything. And then you have the sassy Nurgling on top of it, which obviously is the best Nurgling ever.
Unquestionable.
Yep. And we have a whole bunch of bits in here. We have shoulder pads. We have the bugs. We have bells. We have the front end of a not Blight Hauler. It's the evil Roomba. I can't remember its name right now. But this is painted amazingly.
Agreed.
And we're about to see a whole bunch of Death Guard that are painted incredibly well.
Who is this from?
This is from Ducky 9090.
Ducky, you're a hell of a painter, sir. That looks excellent.
Yep, and their icon on the Discord is Darkwing Duck. Oh yes.
Let's get dangerous.
So this is their Mortarian.
Oh, damn, that looks good.
Look at these wings. The color hue on the wings looks incredible. The gross nastiness of it looks incredible.
There's a great lore reason why his wings look like a moth. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, it's because he's too ugly to be a butterfly.
No, that's not the worst. Because his previous incarnation as a Primarch, he had a lantern for hope, and so the moth to the flame is what they're going with there. But it's very,
speaking of cool. Lantern, his lantern is amazing.
Yep.
This model is just incredible, and then all of the base is still looks like it's a work in progress.
I don't know. I think
it might be done.
It's done enough. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because it looks like it's been dry brushed.
Just good enough. I would say it's just on the side of good enough.
Yeah. And then the side looks incredible. Wow.
With a model like Mortarian, you don't want to do too much to the base, I think. I think you want to let the model do all the talking.
Yeah, you do. So, usually you just do a black base and then highlight the rock, and that's it.
So that's exceptional. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
That's painting contest worthy, but for sure.
And then we got the mower.
Oh,
these things are so cool.
Blight
I
drone.
love these.
I think it's a blight drone, right? That's what they call it.
Mephitic blight drone or something like that. But yeah, they put a fancy word in front of it, and then it's drone. I think this looks really good. I like the corrupted skin underneath it, where you can see the weathering and everything on the skin.
Yeah,
I think that's really good.
Great use of wash.
I like the blood inside here. Mm-hmm. Really, really, you have to look closely to see it, but it's so worth it. Agreed. The washing and everything. This 10 out of 10.
9 out of 10. He's the base is boring.
It's the evil Roomba.
It is the evil Roomba.
Same comment love as these things. I think great. They're so cute.
Looks great, but I have the same problem as the blight drone. The base is the issue.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. And then moving on,
wow,
a good chunk of his Death Guard.
Look at those dudes.
Yeah. So the camera didn't really. Also, he has the Gellerpox infected in the background.
Yeah, those are the blight ogrins.
Yep. Because weirdly enough, those things are not ogrins; they're just people.
Are they? Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I thought there was Ogrins that they had converted, but oh well.
No,
All
they're
right.
just like heavily mutated people.
Okay. If you say so. I still feel like I've read about Blight Ogrins, so maybe
No,
that's
Blight Ogrins are a thing. It's just the Gellerpox are not. They didn't have ogres.
okay.
It's very weird. But my God, these look incredible.
Yep. They look really good. They all have boring bases, but other than that, they look really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well done, sir.
And then we get to see the Gellerpox.
Ah.
No, these aren't the Gellerpox. These are the Poxwalkers.
Yeah, those are
And
a good set of Poxwalkers.
look at this.
Damn. Yeah,
Look at that shading and everything.
You've got the details down, my friend. The colors, the details, you picked this out beautifully.
This guy kind of looks like Homer Simpson in the background. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
You can see it, right?
Yeah, I do. I totally do.
All right, and then we got the this is the last picture. These are the death site. What are they called? Not death sites. Death shrouds. The death shroud terminators.
Nice.
Oh, they just look so good.
That gut mouth is really amazing.
Now, do you want to know something that really annoys me about this kit?
What?
So if you look at this armor is very clearly cataphracti, right?
Based on that, yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, based on it, yeah.
Yeah, in 30K, they can't take cataphracti armor. They take Tartaros. It bugs me.
Well, there's two types of special terminators in 30K. One I think can and one can't.
They used to both be able to take either in first edition. In second edition, they changed it so that one is one and one is the other. And in third edition, they're both Tartaros.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's clearly cataphracti, though. That actually happened to a bunch of guys in second edition as well. Like Marduk Cedrus, who's clearly wearing cataphracti Terminator armor, but his rule said it's just Terminator armor with no signifier on it. So yeah, it was weird. Maybe some things slipped through the cracks.
So the next thing is done by me. I just took a quick picture of these. I need these for the tournament tomorrow.
That was rad as hell. Is that the Titus's command squad?
Yes.
Wow.
These are the Wardens of Ultramar. These are the humans. I didn't take a good picture of the two Primaris Marines with them, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm really happy with them. I think they came out pretty well. I'm a little annoyed about the white hair on this one. It didn't turn as brown as I wanted it to.
No.
So yeah, that's a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, those are these finished or are these still work in progress?
No, these are work in progress. This is just, I had to speed paint them as quickly as possible to get them ready for tomorrow.
I'm jealous.
There are some stuff in here that I need to shave this down. I need to shave this down. I need to do up the eye. I need to do a proper highlight here. I want to do a highlight on the sword. There's no highlight on there, unfortunately. There's no highlight on the reds yet.
They look really good.
Yeah.
I am jealous of your War of the Rohirrim mug back there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you should see the hammer one I got too. I got the hammer and the mug.
Nice. That was a great movie. Big fan.
It was a very underrated movie. And then this is by Drazhana?
Drazhina Question. Yeah.
Yes. And these are some Spas Wolves.
Those are Wolfen, aren't they not?
These are not Wolfen. These are it looks like a type of incursor or an
Wolf Scouts?
Not Insector. They could be Wolf Scouts. That is a carbine, so it could be a Wolf Scout. Let me see. Yeah, it's the Wolf Scouts. Yeah, because there's the seer with them.
They look good. Great start, Justina. I'd like to see more. Show us more as you get closer to getting done. Those guys are looking good.
And then we got some more from Hellflayer. These are models that are work in progress and a whole bunch of. This is interesting because this kit is the Exorcist for the Executioner for Black Legion, but that weapon is from the Lord from Emperor's Children, because I recognize that weapon. It's really stupid. and I love it.
Hawk is asking if that was the Space Wolf kill team that we were looking
Yes,
at.
it is.
Okay.
And then one with the mace, that's really cool too. So you have 2 of these guys, the Lord of Master of Execution in your army.
Listen, if it looks
Interesting.
good and he likes it, I mean, I have no
3 of them, 4 of them. Holy crap! How many of these do you have?
Again, I have no objection if they look really cool, so it's fine. Oh wow!
I do love all the conversions people have done to this model because the base model is very boring, and I'm guessing you're using it as a Master of Execution.
They're all Masters of Execution. I don't know.
And then
They
a
look good.
champion with 2 swords. This is very nice.
Yeah, some of those are heresy models, which is really cool.
At least these 2. And then there's some Chaos Warriors in the back, which is funny. So yeah, that is all the miniatures that we have. We had some really cool looking minis pop up today. I love our community constantly sharing miniatures with us and everything. It's super cool, and I'm so glad you guys do this with us. It's fantastic.
Don't forget that if you want us to look at your miniatures, you need to go onto our Discord and go into the 40K forum, I believe, and then there's a thread there for mini posting that we will keep an eye on, and we will happily look at your minis on our show when we discuss it. So that is how you get that done. This is our last 10 minutes, so I think we have time for whatever questions you may have. Wow. Ross is hawk pilled, according to Lord Vorn. He's got the black rage where everyone looks like Hawk. Okay, Lord Vorn, I'm sorry. Did you do that? I apologize. I forget. I forget. Lord Vorn is also a big help. He's one of our mods. Thank you, so I do appreciate your time. You're right. I get Hawk vision. I only see Hawks. We got a super chat from Ricky Chapman. He says, we kept getting Masters of Execution as gifts. We have 8.
Holy cow. Why?
A whole squad of Masters of Execution. Why not?
You know what? One of my favorite conversions for that miniature is actually making him a standard bearer because he's in a really good pose for it. He's a really good miniature. Don't get me wrong. It's just I've never seen somebody roll out 4 of them.
Yes, it was Lord Vorn who asked if it was the Space Wolf kill team, not Hawk. Where are you, Horus? Lord Vorn believes I am blind. Yes. You know what? I'm getting old, and these eyes aren't as good as they were. So I saw a blue name, and I thought it was yours. I apologize. Rush 21129 says, painting question, wanting to end with deep purple armor, contrast paints, I assume. I spray it white with primer. Is there a color I can paint under the purple to make it pop?
So what you want to do when it comes to miniatures that you want to use contrast on, you want to do something called slap chop. It'll make it pop away more because you'll get all the shadowing and everything. So if you get a chance to look up slap chop as a method, this isn't a joke or anything, that it is literally called slap chop. Typically what I do when I'm using a lot of contrast paints, you can see this on the miniatures I painted. I spray them black first, and then I pick an angle and I spray them with a white primer so that it leaves shadows on the miniature itself. And then when the wash goes over, it actually keeps those darker recesses. When it comes to using a contrast paint, you're probably going to use Magus Purple because that is the best purple that they have. That's a contrast paint. That paint really goes on very well by itself. But after it, what you want to do is get a Drukhari Night Wash to go over it and just get it around it so you don't cover up the richer purple that you're going to have.
I should point out today's episode was a topic picked by you, the chat, the viewers. This is decided upon on our Discord, and we will be doing more polls to determine what you guys want us to cover. I see that Mike is saying he says, now that I think about it, it would be cool to make our own Eldar Corsair. I agree. We have some Let's Builds coming up. So if you guys want to, I think we're not voting on the bonus streams, but we could. I could be convinced to make a Let's Build and just allow you guys to decide what you want us to build.
I mean, I'm totally down for that. That sounds like a
So
great idea.
yeah, I think I will amend one of our Let's Builds to be a poll, so you guys can tell us what you want us to build. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
And
And
as you know, both of us are really good on polls.
thank God for our moderators, including Lord Vorn, but also Hawk, who keep us appraised of what you guys decide and let us get prepared for the show to discuss whatever the thing happens to be. We've got next poll is an episode for the Custodes. That's true, which is interesting. Yeah, we have a episode of Custodes coming up. I'm only teasing. I know. Hey, I'm teasing you back. It's fine.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Custodes are, of course, Henry Cavill's favorite faction. We will be discussing the Boys in Gold, the 10,000, the Legio Custodes, as they were originally called, now the Adeptus Custodes.
And we're not going to be talking about the sisters too much in that stream. We're going to mention them briefly and talk about what they do, but we are focusing on the Custodes instead of the Sisters of Silence. And we asked them, but they didn't say anything. So, you know.
They didn't speak up. Ouch. Wow. Yeah, the shield hosts, Micah points out, which are cool. Yeah, I agree. They are cool. We're going to talk about the blood games and all the other stuff that the Custodes do. But yeah, we've got a lot of really great topics coming up. We want you guys to vote on it and let us know what you think is really important for us to cover. One thing I would like to do Let's Build for sure is an advisor for Total War 40K.
That one is going to be largely on you because I don't play a lot of the Total War games. So it's weird. My gaming is very weird because I play a lot of like management simulators, and then I play like Fallout and Cyberpunk. Like that's kind of it. I have like 5,000 games on my Steam, and I play like 3 games.
Well, we should talk about Cyberpunk more because I love that game. But in Total War, the advisor is a character, an NPC, basically, that tells the player, hey, don't forget about X, don't forget about Y, here's this important thing over here. And in the Total War series, it's a guy called the advisor, and he's a kind of an old man with a raven on his shoulder and a staff, and he's involved. His lore is deep. Like, I don't want to get too far into it because there's some fun surprises there. Turns out he's a chaos greater demon. But the advisor for Total War has to be someone that could go to any faction basically and speak to them, be respected by them to a degree. Obviously, for Total War 40K, that's going to mean he's going to be able to talk to both Imperium and Chaos factions as well as Xenos factions. My first thought is something like a rogue trader or something of that kind, but we'll have to find out.
If we could do like a crazy Inquisitor. We do have a question here.
Yeah. What is more? Oh, Drazina question asks, which is more thematic or narrative for a flanking group? Wolfen and Scouts, Thunderwolf Cavalry and Wolfen, or Scouts and Thunderwolf Cavalry?
Wolfen and Thunderwolves.
Yeah.
They're faster.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Wolfen and Thunderwolves. That's more thematic. But they're all cool and they're all possible things you could do. So
yeah,
find what's cool to you and make that, come up with a story. Even if it's like, this is highly unusual, why these two groups should work together, that could be a fun story. So yeah, I go for it.
All my Thunderwolves are on dinosaurs because I'm awesome.
We have a Let's Build scheduled for the 25th, which is next Wednesday. We could potentially get a poll up for that one right away.
We should.
All right. Hawk, I will speak to you later to get this poll up for the 25th.
But not you, Vorn.
She said it, not me.
He 1000% implied it.
Send your comments to Alexis at Lorebeards.
I love that we just take the piss out of everything we do.
I mean, this show would be a lot more work if it wasn't fun. So
exactly.
Mr. Vorn says, I will happily let Hawk handle the polls. There you go. But yeah, that's today. So today's show was all about the Corsairs, and I think we covered them pretty deeply. The only thing we didn't touch on in a lot of detail was Prince Uriel himself, because he is worthy of his own episode, and we will definitely talk about him.
Yep.
In
And
fact,
hopefully when we come back to them, I will have read the new book.
there you go. It's a novel. They said it's a novel specifically. The Void Scarred book is a novel.
That's a book.
So there you go. Yeah. Cool. So that's it for today's episode of Lorebeards. We really appreciate all you guys for stopping by, all the super chats that you gave. Support us, support the show, and yeah, just keep your eyes open for more cool stuff to come on the Lorebeards front in the future.
And remember, in the grim darkness of the far future,
there is only lore and space elves who are also space pirates.
And space elves on dinosaurs, and space elves in space, and space elves in secondary space, and space elves that are clowns, and space elves that are in a library.
Yes. Some of those are all of the same thing. So many different versions of space elves. I kind of love it. It's one of the most fun things to talk about at 40K is all the different versions of space elves. Oh, and my shirt today is in fact a Asuryani warlock. So there's that.
Hell yeah.
All right, you guys, take care. We will see you next time.
Okay, love you guys. Bye.